treadmill, latest rehab facilities and highly trained physios. PhysioExtra.com.
Israel's military chiefs have told troops days of airstrikes in Lebanon are preparation for a possible ground invasion. The IDF has struck more than 2,000 targets since Monday, killing hundreds of people, including at least 50 children. Lieutenant Herzi Haliva says the operation's aim is to continue degrading Hezbollah.
You hear the planes up here? We are attacking all day. This is both to prepare the ground for your potential entry and to continue hitting Hezbollah. Today, Hezbollah has expanded its circle of fire, and later in the day, it will receive a very strong response. You will prepare.
Translation thanks to the BBC. A helping hand for workers out of a job as a tomato virus shuts down 3 local producers. Hundreds, many from overseas, are in limbo after Perfection Fresh at 2 Wells was ordered into quarantine. A worker assistance hub will operate out of the Virginia Horticultural Centre from 9 this morning. Premier Peter Malinauskas says Centrelink will be there.
We've also engaged Red Cross and Lutheran Care to provide other types of support and entitlements depending on the nature of their visa, where they come from, are they an Australian citizen, and what have you. So this is a complex set of circumstances. We don't have a great degree of detail in terms of exact numbers.
More than 150,000 people have enrolled in fee-free TAFE this year, with courses in the care sector most popular. The federal government says the figure shows it's on track to beat its goal of 300,000 enrolments by the end of 2026. Skills Minister Andrew Giles says it's about making sure Australia's workforce is well trained for years to come.
This is going to have a really big impact. Of course, we're concerned about giving individuals skills that they want to have, but we can see in so many areas the skills our economy and our society need are being met by fee-free TAFE enrolment.
Grieving families and medical experts are pleading for a type of head injury to be officially identified as the official cause of death. As Gabriel Hodson reports, statistics would help work out the scale of the condition.
Second impact syndrome happens when a sports player hasn't fully recovered from concussion and goes back to get concussed again. The result, unconsciousness and in too many cases, death. A former University of Sydney senior lecturer has told SMH The Age that at least 21 young athletes have died from the syndrome since 2006, and it's affecting both Aussie rules and rugby league. He and colleagues in neuroscience want experts to hunt for signs of the condition during autopsies, saying it's not always obvious. AFL agents are pushing for a so-called concussion passport, a national register of players who've suffered head injuries.
Qantas says it's putting contingencies in place to minimise disruption to customers, as nearly half of its engineers prepared to take strike action for a better pay deal. About 1,100 engineers are taking part in a fortnight of industrial action starting today in Melbourne. Australian Manufacturing Workers Union National Secretary Steve Murphy says the action will be ramped up from next week.
We've got more actions planned. There will be rolling stoppages that will happen across all of the major cities. It's likely to affect services, and we apologise for the public on that. If they do want to send a message to Qantas, it should be, you need to respect your workers and show us that you respect your workers if you want to rebuild your reputation.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Visit gliderol.com.au and see how you could win during their Colorbond Steal the Show promotion.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. Port Adelaide veteran Charlie Dixon has decided to hang up the boots and call time on his career. There's still no word on whether Travis Boak will hang up the boots or play on for a 19th season. Meantime, Brisbane will return for a second grand final in a row this Saturday. 3-time Lions Premiership player Simon Black telling Wide World of Sports they'll keep their focus right until the end.
Yeah, they've shown a bit of grit, haven't they? Not get overawed when they're down by a significant margin at times on the scoreboard too. So yeah, they've had to fight for it, and coming into this grand final this weekend, it's going to a lot of confidence on the back of the last fortnight and what they've been able to do to fight from behind.
Meantime, the Sydney Swans are rallying around shattered captain Callum Mills after he was ruled out of the grand final. Mills failed to overcome a hamstring injury in time for the decider against the Lions. Let's get to netball, and the Australian Diamonds have beaten England 69-56 to clinch the 3-match series, 2-1. To soccer, and Manchester United's 1-0 up against FC Twente in its Europa League clash with about 15 minutes to play. And there's only a few minutes left in League Cup action this morning with Arsenal 5-1 to the good against Bolton, while Liverpool leads West Ham 2-1. And there's more cricket on today with South Australia taking on New South Wales in a one-dayer in Sydney. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Sunny and 18 today. Tomorrow sunny 22. Saturday a late shower 26. Then Sunday showers easing 18 degrees. Currently it's 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
When you're updating your computer and you want the best value, Harvey Norman has the best deals and biggest range. On a small budget? No worries. The Asus VivoBook Go is the best price laptop under $400. It has a large 15.6-inch display, Intel dual-core Celeron CPU, 4GB of RAM and 128GB storage. It also includes Microsoft Office 365 for 1 year, all just $388. Want something with more power? They've got that too, and it's still under $900. The Acer Aspire Lite has an Intel i7 CPU, 16GB of RAM and 512GB solid-state drive. It also includes a large 15.6-inch Full HD display and Windows 11, all for only $898.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
When it comes to reducing pain and rebuilding strength, Kiesa leaves nothing to chance. Our university-qualified health professionals don't just treat problem areas. They design personalised training programs using Swiss-engineered machines unique to Kiesa. These machines safely isolate the affected area, test your strength, and help rebuild your muscles for a stronger, more active and healthier life. Kiesa, building strength with precision in Norwood.
In SA, is there really such a thing as an average road trip? From cellar doors to first pours, campsites to long hikes, leafy laneways to boutique city stays, dusty plumes to old school tunes, the first river dip to the first Shiraz sip. Find our treasures and soak it up on the open road. Visit southaustralia.com to travel our way for experiences worthy of a road trip.
Look at your hands. 5 digits, 4...
Adelaide wakes up with 5AA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings, Tom Wren for sport, Jade Robran on the scene as it happens, Graham Goodings and Jess Adamson with the news that matters to Adelaide. Breakfast with David and Will, bringing together the names you trust with everything you need to know to start your day. Always live, always local and only on 5AA. Always Adelaide. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Thursday on 5AA Breakfast, 26th of September this morning. Days out from the AFL Grand Final, which means we're now officially at the point of the competition. We're actively cheering for the Grand Final tickets to go off today. Clue number 9 coming up a little bit later. This, I think, makes it obvious which oval has your AFL Grand Final tickets, flights and accommodation. That will be revealed a little bit later in the morning, so make sure you are listening. Big chance for you to get along to the Grand Final. There's a bit of a disruption for people flying in and out of Melbourne today because of Qantas engineers strike. We're going to talk about that over the course of the morning. We'll flash back in time with Michael Smith. Matt Abraham's on to dissect the spin of the week. We're going to chat with a tomato grower from Virginia about this devastating now news regarding this virus that's sweeping through the industry here in South Australia. 3 farms have been shut down. Hundreds of jobs have already been lost as a result of this. We're going to talk more about that later. Of course, love chatting with you. 8223 0000 is the number. You can text us on the Duttons text line as well. 044808 1395. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. I was just texting back and forth with one of my best mates who is currently at the Adelaide airport trying to head to Melbourne for the best reason of all. About the only good reason to go to Melbourne, go to the Grand Final. But, just saying... there's some kind of engineers strike on at the airport, mate. I hope there's no dramas getting out. I haven't heard back from him yet, but they're after 15%. A lot of people might go, crikey, that's a lot. Well, they haven't had a pay rise for about 4 years. And if you worked for Qantas, if you were a grunt, if you're just down on the ground, working as a chucker, as they're known, the baggage handlers, it's a great nickname for a job, a chucker. Not to be confused with Mullaurutharan. Who called him? It was the South Australian umpire, wasn't it? For the suspect action? Daryl Hare.
Daryl Hare.
It was Daryl Hare.
It was Daryl Hare.
That's right. Murali. But, and not a chucker. Great bowler. Warney said he was a great bowler. You don't sound convinced.
They had to change the rule.
Well, they did, didn't they? It's sort of
Felt like one of those
sling extension thing going on with the forearm.
I think the thing that saved him was when they did that really granular biometric style analysis. It turned out everyone does it a bit. Like no one keeps it straight, or doesn't straighten it in the process. His was the most dramatic, though.
Since then, there's been other bowlers who've ended up bowling who previously probably would have got into strifes, like Bumrah.
Yep.
With that real slidey sort of action that he's got. He's a great bowler, that guy. But anyway, we digress. So, yeah, so you work for Qantas, and even if you're just, you're on pretty good money, I would imagine, as an engineer anyway. But if you don't get any extra for 3 years and you cop 14 interest rate rises and $10 blueberries and cabbages and everything else that we've been documenting, and you watch Alan Joyce stuffing his pants with cash while cancellations are up, on-time reliability's down, et cetera, all the well-documented woes of Qantas, and they're all still paying themselves bonuses, not just Joyce, but his whole clique. I reckon I'd go full Arthur Scargill and say, that's it, lads, we're out.
Well, and the Qantas has returned to profit. They're back making $1 billion profit. So there is a bit of slack and fat there. 3.5 years it's been since the engineers have had any sort of uplift in their pay. They want a 5% per year pay bump plus 15% in the first year to make up for the freeze that they clearly happily went along with.
But if you're at the airport and you're experiencing any dramas, give us a hoy, 8223 0000. We'll keep you company while you sit around twiddling your thumbs waiting for your plane to leave. This tomato situation is really bad, isn't it? God, I feel so sorry for that company. It's a huge operation. These guys are the biggest in Australia. So many workers affected. But what I want to know is how on earth can this farm absorb the hit itself?
It's a great question. And
how does it just not go out of business straight away?
Yeah. Well, they can't operate for a period. The PIRSA official that was on 7 News last night said they'll be closed for several weeks. We're not talking about a week or a day where they disinfect the joint, throw out all the tomatoes and start again. One of the most heartbreaking things, you see the truckloads of tomatoes that are going to waste last night?
Crazy.
They just have to throw them out because for the danger of contaminating other tomatoes. It's devastating. Amazing too.
I wonder if they can get a new crop in time. So what did you say? How many weeks is it?
Several, they're saying.
So several weeks. Yeah, they could hopefully get a new crop in.
You're miles behind. So you're not paying bills for weeks.
You'd have to get advanced seedlings already ready to go.
Which is why they've laid people off already. There were people that left the company there at Perfection Fresh. Amazing how many of them are people who are either clearly new to Australia or from overseas and working here for a short period of time. But so many of them got stopped on the way out and were asked by reporters, so have you been told you've lost your job? Yep. Yep,
geez.
I've been lost. I have 500 people work there.
It's amazing the history of it. You can actually write a really good sort of popular history of Virginia Two Wells and its link to like the growth of multicultural Australia. Because so many Greeks and Italians and also probably Slavic people all came through there. So many of them ended up working there. Like my ex-wife, she had family who, I've still got land out there. There's a beautiful little Greek Orthodox chapel on a property out there on Port Wakefield Road, where they have a thing called the Panagiri, which is a big Saints' Day festival, and they make huge pots of stifado, which is the stew traditionally made with rabbit, but often now instead just made with beef. And they have that seed pasta called klitharaki, look like orzo, and there's hundreds and hundreds of Greeks out there, but so many of them. They've all got like a familial connection going back to the 1950s when they came out after the war. And it's been our food bowl, but it's also sort of been our Ellis Island in a way for everyone who turns up in SA.
Yeah. We're going to be talking more about that over the course of the morning. We'll be chatting with a tomato grower after 8 o'clock today. It will feature after 7 as well. We're going to jump into the news headlines next.
Looking to make a meaningful difference? CMAX is seeking volunteers to join a groundbreaking clinical trial that could create a brighter future for those living with cystic fibrosis. If you're aged 18 to 55 and generally healthy, you might be eligible to participate in a study trialling a potential new treatment for this condition. Spend 3 nights at CMAX, attend 1 follow-up visit, and get paid for your time. Want to learn more? Visit cmax.com.au. That's cmax.com.au.
No, Uber Eats does not deliver real magic.
Abracadabra!
Yes.
Whoops.
Uber Eats does deliver ice magic, magical stain remover, Maggi noodles, magnolia candles, wand lighters, invisible tape, invisible pads, invisible deodorant, cards, rabbit food, laundry detergent to make stains vanish, and some reasonably enchanting homewares. Just not real magic. Uber Eats. Get almost anything.
If you're thinking of building or you have a kitchen renovation to do, well, there are a lot of choices to make, but the first choice you make is easy. It should be Smeg. We have an amazing Smeg showroom right here in Adelaide. Debney Distributors, they're in Dudley Park, and inside you'll find the full Smeg range on display.
And what a range it is, everything from ovens, cooktops, dishwashers, fridges, to wine cellars and smaller stuff like kettles and toasters. Smeg seamlessly pairs powerful performance with architectural design, and look, the cooking demonstrations are superb. I got a really fantastic entry-level Smeg oven. Didn't break the bank at all, and Donzi and the team taught me how to use it, and you can get so much out of it without spending much money at all. Smeg's been proudly made in Italy since 1948. Their colour, design and technology are world famous.
Smeg, technology with style. Visit the Smeg showroom today at Debney Distributors, Harrison Road, Dudley Park.
Her mum's on the phone while she's on her skates.
Careful, honey, don't get too close to the road.
She rides from the top of the driveway to test how fast she can go. And suddenly...
Wait, stop!
She's testing your brakes too. Stop and take time to ensure your car stops in time and the brakes are all you hit. Let Automasters test your brakes before someone else does. Call 1300 Automasters.
The 2024 NAB AFLW season is in full swing.
Get up close to the action and watch the best go head-to-head in thrilling matches for only $15 a ticket.
That's right, for $15, the W has your weekend plans sorted.
Plus, under 18s get in for free.
Whether you're with family, friends or flying solo, everyone's welcome at the W.
So what are you waiting for? Visit women's.afl to get your tickets today.
I'll see you at the W.
Yeah. See you at the W.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
90 minutes after 6, let's get to the news headlines on this Thursday, the 26th of September. Really disturbing news coming out of the Middle East. An Israeli army chief has told troops to prepare for a ground invasion of Lebanon. The Israeli Defence Force is mobilised on the northern border and is seeking to gain entry into the country. More than 600 people have been killed as Israeli strikes hit the country. When we cross to the US before 7, we'll get a sense of what the US reaction to this has been. It is big news there, developing overnight, but it would be a significant escalation. And when this original situation played out post-October 7 last year, the fear it would spill into a wider conflict, and that's certainly what it looks like is going to happen now.
Just extraordinary, and who knows how it's going to play out. I saw some Hezbollah commander saying we've got some surprises ready for the IDF. It just sounds like a total bloodbath, potentially. Horrible.
Earth is set to gain a tiny second moon from this weekend.
Nice.
Scientists say a small asteroid named 2024 PT5, well, that needs a bit of work, will be captured by Earth's...
Sounds like a bad car.
will be captured by Earth's gravitational pull and partially orbit the planet until it breaks away in late November. It's just 10 metres long and dull in colour and will only be observable through professional telescopes. So we're not going to see
10 metres long?
10 metres long.
It's hard. It's not much of a moon, is it?
No.
You wouldn't want to be the first man to land on that moon.
No, you'd be a very small man.
First dwarf in space. Sorry.
Enrollment in fee-free TAFE is hitting new highs with more than 150,000 people signing up in the first half of this year. Courses in the care economy have been the most popular. The figures put the government on track to beat its target of 300,000 free TAFE places by the end of next year. Skills Minister Andrew Giles says it is promising news.
I think everyone knows how much work we've got to do to deliver dignity to older Australians as we look to respond to the Royal Commission findings. And we know that early education and childcare is a huge issue. It's again a pressure on families, and it's so important that we give our children the best start in life.
We got a text from Quentin about that going, morning fellas, what absolute crock, the Prime Minister talking about free TAFE numbers. Can you please look at the outcomes and compare to the non-free TAFE years is actually less by a long shot. Private training organisations have better results but are getting pushed out of the market. Yet again, this is political spin. Interesting.
Aldi is the cheapest supermarket in Australia. Choice has released a report finding, how about this will blow you over, Woolworths and Coles have almost identical price points.
Really?
Yeah, I know, amazing, isn't it?
It's funny how they can sell so many things and they cost exactly the same unless they're pretending they're on discount.
A basket of groceries costs the most at IGA. Consumers looking to save money are encouraged to use unit pricing and to shop around if they can. That's Choice's recommendation. Meanwhile, Coles is trialling the use of cardboard boxes for fruit and veg, getting rid of single-use plastic bags. Customers will be able to reuse the cardboard boxes used to deliver produce to the store. You can then take the box home to recycle, or you can leave it at the checkout for another customer to use.
Every time I go to Aldi, and I don't go there that often, but whenever I go there, because there's a few things at Aldi that I really, really love. I love their gozleme and, you know, that Turkish pizza filled with the minced lamb. And they also do really good spanakopiters. I think they're like $4 each or something. And like they serve 2 people for lunch. Like you just heat them up in a pan, chuck them into a fry pan, froze them with a bit of olive oil, and they crisp up after about. It take a while to cook. But you look at the rest of the stuff in Aldi, you think they haven't got everything that you need. There's always all these gaps. You think, oh yeah, so there's something called Sif or something that's actually just a rip-off version of Jif. And it's like half the price of Jif, so why not buy it? Unless you're
probably all the same.
Really emotionally attached to the brand Jif, which I don't think anyone is, so get some Sif instead. But then you go, oh, I need this, this and this, and it's like, no, we haven't got it. But we have got an air compressor. Or a giant caravan cover. But we haven't got, you know, sliced wholemeal bread or something.
Yeah. So,
but it probably makes sense if you put upon to actually go to Aldi first and then go, all right,
get what you can.
Now I'm going to go somewhere else. But it's weird. It's a weird place to go, I reckon.
This is concerning, if not surprising. A third of children and teens are now short-sighted. A third.
Wow.
There are fears that number will reach 40% by 2050. The cause won't surprise anyone. It's increased 24% in the past decade because of the rise in screen use. So quite simply, your eyes, you don't tend to blink, you don't readjust focus, you're looking at something at the same distance for prolonged periods, and it leads to deterioration in your eyes. That's staggering. So nearly half of all kids and teens by 2050 will be short-sighted. Quite remarkable.
Hey, one very good point here. Be careful what you wish for, because all of Aldi's profits go overseas. Yeah, they do.
All right. Let's.
But they do employ a lot of people locally, so let's not denounce any business with a foreign ownership, because some of them actually do still do a lot for Australian workers, don't they?
That's exactly right. Cool start today, albeit not as cool as we had early last week, but still, compared to the last few days, 7.8 is pretty cool. The top today will reach just 18, but it's going to be sunny, and the wind's fairly light throughout the day, so it's going to be a pretty nice day. Not as nice as tomorrow's going to be, 22 and sunny tomorrow. And then Saturday, for most of the day, is going to be magnificent, 26, albeit there'll be a little bit of wind, because later in the day there'll be a change that's going to bring potentially a couple of mils of rain Saturday night, and if it's not Saturday night, we'll get closer to 10 mils on the Sunday, top of 18 expected, possibly up to that 10 mil point on Sunday. Monday, 19 and up to 2 mils. Tuesday, 19 and a drizzle. Wednesday, 18 and mostly sunny.
Good text here from Rob. After an estimated 8,000 rockets fired indiscriminately into Israel over the last year, what number would you suggest is enough before you retaliate? Would we sit happily here in Adelaide and absorb 8,000 rockets from Hezbollah and say, that's okay, keep them coming?
It is amazing,
very good point.
The degree with which some of these organisations launch rockets and then seem utterly perplexed when there is a return volley of fire.
Exactly. Or just, start shooting rockets at kids at soccer training and then wonder why it does get to a point where a country goes, after, 1,300 odd people have been raped and murdered and, still being kept hostage.
Yep.
Every country has its breaking point.
Let's introduce Tom Wren to the conversation. There's a bit of sport getting around to sink our teeth into this morning. The 2024 Mitsubishi Triton comes with 10 years warranty plus 3 years free servicing only at Agostino Mitsubishi. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Look, as expected, I think no real surprises. Charlie Dixon deciding to hang up the boots. You could see the writing on the wall on the weekend. Great player. He's given a lot to two clubs, Gold Coast, and then I think, the best of his career was at Port Adelaide. But it catches up with you, doesn't it? Father Time just gets the best of all of us. So, he's pulled the pin.
I love blokes like Charlie Dixon where you just see them on the field, you think, this is an animal. This is a barely house-trained beast. And then you meet him in real life, he's just one of the best human beings. We've met him a couple of times. One of the nicest guys you could ever meet in your life. I love those kind of sports people.
Yeah. He is so nice.
He really is.
Sam Daddo knows him really well.
He knows him very well.
Sam produces Driving with Dixon. In fact, the news broke last night, just before Driving with Dixon was on. But I remember one day going down the car park with him, got in the lift, and we're just talking about cars. And he's just a really, he's a real gentle guy.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? Yeah,
and he's thoughtful, nice, lovely man.
And they're all big to me, the AFL boys, because they are. But
even Caleb Daniel.
Yeah, exactly. But he's just a whopper.
He's huge.
His hands are bigger than your head, Tom.
I know, and I've got a big block. So he is a monster. He is, but well done. He's had a great career. Brownlow. So the voting system, is it going to change? Well, this was Andrew Dillon, the league boss, on Fox Footy last night when asked that question.
Oh, look, the Brownlow's been awarded 100 years this year. Yeah, we've got the 4 umpires. They come to a consensus. It's the fairest and the best, and I think the 3-2-1 works. Patrick had an incredible year, and so did Nick Dacos with the 38 votes. So I think ultimately we ended up with a really deserving winner, and he's been way up there in most of the other awards that have been awarded this year.
Happy?
Nah, it's rubbish. Just the AFL's a sort of patchwork approach to caring about the history of the game always intrigues me. Like, I can't change. It's been around for 100 years. Unlike the rules, which will change every 6 months.
Yeah. So it's a bit
what annoys me too
inconsistent, isn't it?
Brownlow. This is a sort of combination of AFL/Victorian self-importance. The music they have, it's always this really sort of, like moody. What was Dan Sultan the other night? Why don't they just get the Hoodoo Gurus to come out and play What's My Scene or something? Like, make it fun. It felt like, particularly with that Hayward speech, a lot of people going, oh, that speech was amazing. It was like going to a funeral, watching it. As a TV spectacle, you should talk to your mates at Channel 7, Will. It was dire. It was actually sad.
Is that the Brayshaw speech?
Yeah.
Brayshaw?
That's what I meant. I mean, it was a powerful speech, but crikey. You talk about dampening the mood. It's meant to be a celebration of football.
Yeah.
Then we had slow motion footage of every single person who's died from CTE. Like, where's the fun gone?
Yeah.
This is where the NRL's actually got it better. It's like, okay, we've got behavioural problems. We've got a history of drug problems and alcohol abuse. So how about, let's say, round one next year, we take everyone to Las Vegas.
And they did.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. It's wild. Now, Callum Mills...
It's too worthy, the AFL.
Yeah. Callum Mills ruled out of the grand final. I think, again, no real surprises.
No. Sad for him, though.
They got burnt 2 years ago, didn't they? So I think this time John Longmire went, no, I am not going anyone other than fully fit. And understandable. So, big call.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks,
good work.
Tom.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny at 18 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion, including underwater treadmill, latest rehab facilities and highly trained physios. PhysioExtra.com.
The United Nations says there are 90,000 newly displaced people in Lebanon after the latest round of attacks. The BBC's Nafise Konavad says many people from bomb border villages are making their way to Beirut seeking food and shelter.
It is a chaos here. Organizing all these people that suddenly arrived to Beirut is very difficult, and we can see that all aid organizations and Lebanese government are struggling to bring help for these people.
Meanwhile, the Israeli Defense Force says it's intercepted a surface-to-surface missile fired at Tel Aviv. Hezbollah says it was targeting a Mossad office. A worker assistance hub will open this morning for those impacted by the job losses at Perfection Fresh. They're one of 3 local producers shut down after the tomato virus was detected in SA. Hundreds of people, many from overseas, are out of work with the greenhouses under quarantine. Premier Peter Malinauskas says help will be on offer at the Virginia Horticultural Centre from 9 a.m.
The Worker Assistance Hub will provide a place where affected workers and employees from the industry can go to get assistance in English but also in other languages as well, access to services such as Centrelink.
Meantime, the United Workers Union is calling for immediate federal government income support and job assistance for the almost 800 South Australian tomato farm employees. The workers are at risk of being stood down as quarantine measures are introduced to curb the spread of the highly contagious tomato virus. Industry experts say changes to negative gearing could worsen the housing crisis. The Prime Minister isn't ruling out rolling back the tax concessions, but insists he hasn't discussed the issue with anyone. Housing Industry Association Chief Economist Tim Reardon says the Rudd government's 2010 tax review recommended against changes to the measure.
The Henry Tax Review is very clear. Do not make changes to negative gearing capital gains tax until you address the supply problem. And it's very simple. If you increase the taxes on housing, we will get fewer homes.
More than 1,000 Qantas engineers are set to take strike action over the next fortnight as part of a campaign for better pay. The Australian Manufacturing Workers Union claims engineer wages have been frozen for years, while the national carrier has made billions in profits. National Secretary Steve Murphy says the action will begin today with a 4-hour stoppage in Melbourne before expanding to include all major airports.
What we want to see up front is 15%. We think that that is a fair claim, given that minimum wages have moved 12% over that same little period. And then we want 5% per year, which is pretty much on par with what workers who have got a skilled trade are getting out there in the general industry.
A report into supermarket prices highlights the importance of shopping around. It's found Aldi has the best value for money, followed by Coles and Woolworths. Choice surveyed over 100 supermarkets across Australia. Editorial Director Mark Serrells says shoppers should be paying attention to unit prices.
That way you can kind of tell if you're getting a genuine deal or not. You know, you can figure out, is this how much cent per tea bag is this tea versus that tea, or how many dollars per kilogram is this vegetable compared to that, etc., etc.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Visit gliderol.com.au and see how you could win during their Colorbond Steal the Show promotion.
And now it's a very good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Graham. We're going to start with a little bit of football first. And Adelaide forward Darcy Fogarty says his side needs to be better in the big moments if it's to be a finals contender again next season. Now, Fogarty had a personal best 39 goals from his 22 games this year, but the side struggled and finished, unfortunately, in the bottom 4. Fogarty telling Rowie and Timmy G they need more composure when it counts.
Sometimes when the pressure's on, we sort of go away from what we need to do and what we plan on doing, which is a little bit frustrating at times, but I guess that's what the good teams do. So, no, we need to get better at being more composed when the heat's on and when the game's on the line, and we just need to execute what we've practiced.
There's a big game on this weekend, of course, and Sydney will play in Saturday's grand final without captain Callum Mills. He's been ruled out due to his ongoing hamstring injury. Meantime, defender Nick Blakey insists the Swans are an improved side to the one that was thrashed by Geelong in the 2022 decider.
Yeah, I think it's a different group now. We've matured a lot, probably made it, as much as what people said, it probably was a bit early, whereas, as I said, we're 2 years older now. We've played a lot more footy together.
Briefly elsewhere, the Aussie Diamonds have won their series against England following a 69-56 goal win in Bendigo overnight. And it's full time in soccer action this morning. Manchester United with a 1-1 draw in its Europa League clash. Arsenal's had a 5-1 win in its League Cup match against Bolton. Liverpool also with a 5-1 win against West Ham. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Sunny at 18 today. Tomorrow also sunny, but 22. Then Saturday a late shower to 26. Sunday showers easing at 18 degrees. Currently it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 7, we're off to the US this half hour. Police and weather in between, of course. But first, it's time to talk movies. Always love movie days, thanks to Wallace. Movies are better on the big screens at Wallace Cinemas, Mitcham, Mount Barker, Noarlunga and the Piccadilly. Wallace.com.au, where we spin the wheel. It comes up with a number. It corresponds to a year, and Lucy rates one of the legendary films from that time period. There is one little problem that we have this morning, Luce. Someone has stolen the wheel.
The wheel isn't there.
The visual wheelie, the gag that is the spinning wheel. How do you steal a giant wheel? Is it on eBay?
What kind of person steals the spinning wheel?
Maybe downstairs, the FMers, maybe they've pinched it for one of their zany gags.
Yeah, crikey. Well, that'd be right, wouldn't it? Just pinching our ideas.
They might be running it like hamsters.
Didn't they try to do Meat Tray Friday at Nova? They did.
Yeah, that was the other crew.
Oh, that's right.
Got rid of them.
Got rid of old mate Andy.
Kicked him out of the state.
Anyway.
If you see a spinning wheel on Facebook Marketplace, let us know.
So Sam has got a random number generator. There are 25 numbers. So
can we just, before we do this, Sam, you must be sad about Charlie. You and him are like thick as thieves, aren't you? You hang around with Charlie Dixon a lot.
Driving with Dixon, 6:30 Wednesday nights here on 5AA. I could tell when we did this week's episode, he was a bit down. So I assumed some news was coming, but I wasn't sure what sort of news was coming. But yeah, you spoke about how he looks like an animal on the ground, Will, and he has this big persona. He gets angry. Nicest guy you ever met.
Yeah, he's great.
He's just a lovely man, and hopefully whatever comes next, and I'm assuming he'll be in the car scene somehow.
Yeah.
And 5AA will probably still play a part in that. Hopefully he works out what he wants to do and has some fun with it.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're here to talk about movies.
Movies.
And the wheel's gone, so I'm the number generator.
Yeah.
So on my magical number generator, the number 9 has come up loose.
Yeah, it's way less exciting, isn't it, than number generator?
Yeah, that was no fun at all.
Could you at least made some sort of clicking sound?
Yeah. No, let's
number
not do that
9. Number 9. The year is 1993.
93.
93.
Good movie period, the 90s.
The Firm.
Mm-hmm.
Up against In the Name of the Father.
Oh, dearie me. The Firm against In the Name of the Father from 93.
Yes.
Okay.
I got nothing on either of those films.
Someone just texted in saying, I thought the wheel was a sound effect. No, it's a legitimate wheel.
You're on the Foodland Supermarket Facebook and YouTube live stream. It's a legit... Sam spins it.
I can't believe someone's just taken the wheel without telling us.
Oh, well, we've made it work. 82230000. The Firm or In the Name of the Father. The Name of the Father says thriller/drama. The Firm says thriller/mystery. Now, I have a very packed day today, and I'm hosting an event for North Adelaide tonight, which means I've got to squeeze in a 2.5-hour movie regardless.
Are they both that long?
2.5 hours.
See, today would have been good if got a short movie, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was nearly going to rig the system, but
Wouldn't
we don't do that.
Andalou by Louis Buñuel and Salvador Dali.
How long does that go for?
14 minutes.
Yeah, that would have been ideal, but nonetheless.
It's a pretty confronting film.
Nonetheless.
100 years old almost, that movie is.
So, In the Name of the Father v. The Firm. This is the most very peculiar out of 93. So, In the Name of the Father, there is a Daniel Day-Lewis film.
Yes. That has made the list because we had numerous texts about it a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about it.
The Firm's Tom Cruise.
Yes.
The Firm's a John Grisham story, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
About a dodgy law firm.
Yes, it
is.
is.
Denzel Washington's in it as well, I think.
The Firm
Gene
got...
Hackman's
Gene
in it.
Hackman.
The Firm got 76%.
I always get Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman mixed up.
You can win a Wallace Cinemas Family Pass if you would like to have your say on The Firm v. In the Name of the Father. I'm like you, Dad. I've got absolutely zero takes on either of these films.
My only Daniel Day-Lewis memory from that period is he was in a movie called My Left Foot about a writer called Christy Moore.
The Firm got 76% on Rotten Tomatoes. In the Name of the Father got 94%. There you go.
Well, the votes are in.
Maria and Seaton, what do you think?
Good morning, good morning. One of those messages could have been mine, Lucy. Definitely In the Name of the Father.
I think it was, Maria.
And I just recently watched again My Left Foot with Daniel Day-Lewis. Absolute brilliant actor.
Yeah, it's an amazing film, isn't it? Very sad movie.
He's one of the great actors of his generation.
Thank you, Maria.
93, so the top most watched movies in 1993, Jurassic Park, The Fugitive, The Firm came in third.
Can we put Jurassic Park up
Jurassic
instead?
Park's great.
It's so good. Surely you've seen that, Lucy.
Sleepless in Seattle was fourth,
You haven't
Mrs.
seen-
Doubtfire fifth, Indecent Proposal, In the Line of Fire, Aladdin, Cliffhanger, A Few Good Men. Pretty good top 10. Sean,
Yeah.
good morning.
G'day guys, how are you?
Good, thank you, Sean.
I have seen both films. The only thing I remember from the Daniel Day-Lewis film is that they're in prison and they receive a very interesting letter, and after they lick the stamp, they have a very good time. That's all I can say about that. You can, but the other one, mate, The Firm, definitely vote for The Firm. I reckon that gets a rotation of about once a year at home. Very good film, and really easy to watch and follow. It's not like this complicated sort of where you have to go, hang on, who was that? What was this? What did he say? So, holds up really well even now.
Okay, we've got two people in the running to win the Wallace Cinemas Family Pass this morning.
Will from Goodwood has texted in, Lois, saying that John Candy's Cool Runnings is from 1993.
I watched Cool Runnings last year.
Is.
I watched Cool Runnings and I gave it... I know I watched it. Apparently I haven't rated it on my list.
Maybe you just watched it in your own time for fun.
Oh, come on.
Maybe you didn't review it.
Why would I do that?
Why isn't Jurassic Park up here? I can't believe you haven't seen Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is excellent.
It does not interest me.
Fair enough.
Like many of these films.
You'll be laughing on the other side of your face when the dinosaurs return, Luce.
One of the great musical scores in the history of film too.
Behave when confronted by a velociraptor.
We need
a third deciding vote.
Yep,
We've got
and
one
someone
apiece.
else to be in the running
I
for
feel
a
like
Wallace
no one's
Cinemas.
that interested in either of these movies.
Yeah, and that's fine.
I blame the wheel.
They don't have to watch it.
So
I
we
do.
We lose the wheel and the whole thing just came off the rails.
Someone said Jodie Nova birthday comp mysteriously got a new wheel this week.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Jodie Oddie coming for you.
Are they on holidays again?
No.
82230000 is the number.
Well, she got shingles.
You can win yourself
She does have
a
shingles.
Wallace Cinema Family Pass.
Someone asked for my Uncle Buck review. If you missed Uncle Buck last week, I gave it 3.5 stars.
Yep. All right. I think we've got the casting vote coming in now. Hopefully, John in Semaphore Park.
You know, I watched Cool Runnings and didn't write down my rating, so obviously I didn't think too highly of it. But I know I've watched it. 1993, the year before I was born.
Kaz, a lot of people are saying you could watch either of them. They're both good. They're both reasonably good.
I don't want to go to overboard to watch both though.
All right, Sam in Theberton,
hours
put us
any
out
day.
of our misery, Sam. What's Lucy watching? Hang on,
Haven't
Sam, we
seen
missed you there.
any-
Sam, what's she watching?
I haven't seen any of those movies, but I have to spin my wheel.
That's a good sound effect, Sam.
The Firm.
The Firm.
Sam, yeah,
Well,
up to
that's
that moment,
decided it.
I didn't think that segment could get any worse. Thank you. Let's give Sam the Wallace Cinemas Family Pass this morning.
Oh boy.
We need the wheel. We are rudderless without the wheel.
It's really altered the auras in here.
I know.
It's the lack of the wheels thrown us completely off kilter.
All right, The Firm, Tom Cruise.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Luce. Hey, if you want to listen to some good radio, Leith Forest bring back the Grand Final Eve show on Friday night. We will play all the favourite footy and Grand Final tunes right here on 5AA. Friday, 27th of September from 7 till 10 p.m. All thanks to Clarity Records, your fully independent record store serving the local music community for over 14 years. Clarity Records, 60 Pulteney Street.
As frequented by David Koch, we discovered yesterday.
Yes.
What about that?
Exactly right.
Koshy going in there would have been like that scene in High Fidelity when the father walks in saying to Jack Black, I'd like to buy you. I just called to say I love you. Do you have it? Yeah, we do, but I'm not going to sell it to you. I beg your pardon, because it's crappy bab.
All right,
I wonder if he got that sort of treatment at Clarity. I doubt it.
No, no chance whatsoever. They do a good job. Let's check traffic thanks to Keys of Physiotherapy, Rehabilitation and Strength Training. Build strength with precision at Keys and Norwood.
Good morning. Accident and breakdown free to stay Thursday around all the majors. That's including the North-South Motorway, the Salisbury Highway, the freeway in all directions and throughout the city and the parklands. Works continuing a little later. Seacombe Gardens on Sturt Road near Morford Road, speeds at 40 both ways. Bedford Park on Flinders Drive near the Southern Expressway. And check your speed, darling. Valley Road Paradise. Spring has sprung at Petstock. Flea tick and worming treatments now at new everyday low prices, plus 15% off that same brand next time. Save more at Petstock, Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Everybody knows Right Price are the heating and cooling experts. So imagine how much you can save when they join forces with EcoVantage, the incentive experts. Together with Right Price, EcoVantage will help you source all the government incentives you're entitled to when it comes to heating and cooling your home, including energy-efficient heat pump hot water systems. Right Price and EcoVantage, the best of both worlds when it comes to heating, cooling and government incentives.
Hi, Brett Ebert here from Mawson Lakes Mazda. There's a lot to like about Mawson Lakes Mazda. They'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash, and your breakfast or lunch is on them. Your car gets a love too with their state-of-the-art service centre brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, they'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Hi gardeners, Charlie Allbone here. The one thing there's no room for in my garden is weeds. So when they start to sprout, I reach for Rich Grow Beta Weed. Its naturally based formula works within hours of application, and it's glyphosate free. To see the Rich Grow effect of work on the bad things in your garden, grab some Beta Weed today and grow you good things. Available at Bunnings Warehouse.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
When you're updating your computer and you want the best value, Harvey Norman has the best deals and biggest range. On a small budget? No worries. The Asus VivoBook Go is the best price laptop under $400. It has a large 15.6-inch display, Intel dual-core Celeron CPU, 4GB of RAM and 128GB storage. It also includes Microsoft Office 365 for 1 year, all just $388. Want something with more power? They've got that too, and it's still under $900. The Acer Aspire Lite has an Intel i7 CPU, 16GB of RAM and 512GB solid-state drive. It also includes a large 15.6-inch Full HD display and Windows 11, all for only $898.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you. Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
12 to 7, sun beaming through the window here in Hindmarsh Square at the moment. If you look at the iPhone on a stick on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, there's not too much by way of cloud cover around this morning. Big, beautiful sun. Magnificent sunrise, and they're all going to change, of course, in just over a week. It'll be still probably dark at this time of day, but enjoy it. Early morning rises while you can. Let's head to the Weather Bureau and get a sense of the day ahead. Jenny Horvat is on deck. Morning to you, Jenny.
Good morning, guys.
How are you looking, Jenny? Sun's already out. It's looking like a nice day today.
Yeah, sunny conditions continuing throughout the day. It was a little bit cool this morning, minimum temperature getting down to around 7 degrees just before 6 a.m. Currently 8.6 degrees at the West Terrace Nidapira observation site. We are aiming for a top temperature of 18 degrees for the city, 19 for Elizabeth, Glenelg, Noarlunga, 17 degrees, Mount Barker aiming for 15 degrees. Sunny conditions continue for Friday there, getting up to around 22 degrees after minimum temperature around 6 or 7 degrees. Bit of warmth on the Saturday there in a northerly airstream, getting up to around 26 degrees, but that is ahead of a change and we will start to see some showers developing during the evening. Looks like the wettest period will be overnight Saturday into Sunday. That temperature back down to 18 degrees with those showers easing during the day on Sunday. As we start next week in a bit of a broad west-southwesterly airstream, couldn't rule out the odd shower around, not too much, maximum temperatures of around 19 degrees there, guys.
Good stuff, Jenny. Jenny Horvat from the Bureau of Meteorology.
Well, let's head to Sapole. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan joins us. Jen, 4 people have been arrested after stealing a car at Monopara.
Yes, they have. Good morning. It was about 12:30 this morning that police were called to Newton Boulevard after reports that a group of youths had stolen a white Toyota sedan. And the police searched the area with the assistance of Polair, but they were unable to locate the vehicle at that time. And a couple of hours later, at 2:40, police spotted the car travelling northeast on Anzac Highway at Plympton. The car wasn't pursued, but officers followed it as it travelled through the western suburbs before it eventually stopped on Colunder Avenue at Woodville, where all 4 suspects were arrested. And now 4 girls have been arrested aged between 16 and 13, and they've been charged with illegal use of a motor vehicle, and they're going to go to court at a later date.
All 4 of them are girls, Jen?
All 4 girls, all between 16 and 13.
Wow. That's amazing. We were talking yesterday about the packed scenes in the youth court 2 days ago in relation to the other incidents out in the northern suburbs. But, yeah, geez, there's a lot of wayward kids getting around, questionable levels of supervision by their parents.
Questionable.
Yeah, if indeed
being
their
generous.
parents are on the scene. Yeah.
Thank you, Jen. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan from SAPOL.
Something's got to be done about spell check, though, and autocorrect. It's unbelievable. I wrote a column for the Tiser about the Unley fence, and I reread it last night after I sent it through. You know what autocorrect changed Jack Oates to?
What?
Jack Oates.
Jack Oates.
Oates. Oates. Thought, no one's called Oates. I'll make it Oates. What gives these computers the right? When we, as sentient beings, know how to spell...
Drives me absolutely nuts.
It's unbelievable. And I was writing something. I was writing a news story about the Unley Mayor, about the January 26 stuff, Hewitson. It kept changing it to Lewiston. I was like, why is it doing this? But can you imagine, as a lifelong Sturt tragic, I'm so lucky I picked it up, if some sub who didn't know anything about football, imagine if a column ran saying the Jack Oates grandstand. You'd never live that down, would you?
You've copped a credibility bypass on the whole Sturt question.
I'd have to hand in my membership.
You'd have to hand in your membership. I'm sure you can disable it for a word processor. Though I can't handle it.
Can you?
I'm sure you can. It should just be. It should never be auto. It should just
be
at your discretion.
But you end up having fights with it.
Yes.
Because you go back and write, no, it's Oatie, and then you hit return, and it changes it back to Oates again. It's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
It's like 2001.
No, I'm with you. Dutton's text line. Dutton's a third-generation family-owned dealership with over 7 years' experience and easy to do business with.
Yes, one here. I was having a listen to the trade radio segment yesterday. If you lads want to get your strike rate up for players leaving, you could choose either Butters or Bergman, and either of them will be asking for a trade at years. And how many times in the last 48 hours have you had comments about it? Who are you getting on the show next year?
Yeah. A lot of suggestions have come through. We'll write those 2 down as well.
And a lot of feedback about the movie selection today. Most of it completely negative about the 2 movies Luce had to pick from. Josh simply says, guys, these choices suck. Go Jurassic Park. And someone said, how good a head-to-head contest between Jurassic Park and A Few Good Men would have been?
From 93.
Vastly better.
2 great
Anyway,
movies.
it's a random setup. Who knows what's going to come out of the bowl?
Exactly right. Damn wheel.
Yeah.
Now, after 7 o'clock today, Matt Abraham's going to join us. We will dissect the spin of the week with Matt. Lots to talk about in terms of breaking news as well, because the Qantas strikes are going to cause some issues. We're going to have done some closer look on that. We're going to talk about also the negative gearing discussion that's reared its head again in federal politics.
Great headline in the Tiser, Albo has a shortened memory. This being one of the many...
Sunk Bill Shorten.
Sort of blue sky thinking housing policies that Bill Shorten took to the so-called unlosable election, which he promptly lost. Is Albo some sort of Liberal Party sleeper who's spent his entire career covertly waiting to become Labor leader?
Playing the long game.
Playing the long game so that he can actually knock them off in one term.
We're going to get into that after 7 o'clock this morning. Right now, though, let's head to the United States because overnight, really disturbing noises coming out of the Middle East where Israel's ground forces have been briefed, it would appear, ahead of a ground invasion into Lebanon. Tim Lester for 7 News is in the US with the response stateside. What have we heard from the White House, Tim?
I'm concerned about trying to temper what's going on over there, and we've just been hearing in a minute or two our Foreign Affairs Minister, of course, New York at the General Assembly meeting, and I prefer on this issue.
I think, Tim, sorry, mate, we've
The magic of telecommunications between here and North America has let us down for the first time in a little while. He's in New York, of course, because the United Nations are meeting. Joe Biden addressed the United Nations for the last time, and he was upstaged by all this developing in Lebanon almost whilst he was speaking. This started to filter out. So the message about peace and coming together was overshadowed by what was actually happening in the real world, unfortunately.
I reckon the other big story in the world right now, Putin's comments in the last 24 hours, really genuinely raising the spectre of what he regards as a valid nuclear response against any nation with nukes that supports attacks on Russia, and how Putin in his mind defines supporting attacks on Russia. But clearly you've got Ukraine making its way into Russian territory. So Putin has now formally warned that any nation that is supporting Ukraine that has nuclear weapons should be prepared for a nuclear attack by Russia.
What he's talking about specifically has been an issue of, as you say, how do you define it? Well, this is how the Western nations have defined it. Long-range weaponry capable of striking into Russia has so far, us, not the West supplying much of this, but the US and others have said you can have it to defend, you can have it to repel attacks, you can't use it to strike cities in Russia. Zelensky's doing a world tour at the moment where he's saying, we need to relax that. We're not coming to the peace table unless you're allowing us to strike back.
Because Zelensky spoke overnight. He spoke...
Yes.
Is he in the US?
He has been in the US.
Yeah.
So he's saying we need to relax. So this is Putin with a warning to all those nations that have supplied Ukraine with long-range missiles capable of striking Russian towns or strategic positions, saying, you do that, you invite yourself into the conflict. Here's Penny Wong on the latest developments out of the Middle East in New York with the United Nations.
Well, there are ongoing discussions in relation to that last issue, I think, as I outlined, including it is scheduled for discussion at the Security Council tonight, and we hope the Security Council and the broader international community can move to de-escalate the situation. In relation to the first question, you would anticipate we are looking at the full range of options in terms of contingency arrangements, but I again make the point about capacity, which is this. We have a great many Australians in Lebanon. We would urge you to leave now whilst you still can.
Already some commercial airlines cancel flights in the area, so it's going to become increasingly difficult to get out if you haven't made arrangements already.
Penny, often on these issues, she sounds like she's trying to be all things to all people, doesn't she? And sort of world record fence-sitting efforts, I think. Israel intercepted a ballistic missile yesterday. A ballistic missile being fired into Tel Aviv. That's kind of significant, isn't it?
Yep.
So, I mean, as Rodney King said, yes, can't we all get along? Well, clearly the answer to that is no. And that's where armed conflict sometimes becomes kind of inevitable.
5AA News is coming up. We'll take you through a wrap of the big morning stories, perhaps none bigger locally than this tomato virus that's wreaking havoc on the industry. We'll jump into that next.
Welcome to Life's Key Moments, brought to you by First National Real Estate.
A key to my home where my furry friends are always welcome.
The key to endless adventures in my retirement.
The key to growing our own veggies and plenty of space for the kids to play.
The key to living the dream away from the big smoke.
The kids and girls night every night.
Your key to happiness awaits. Visit firstnational.com.au or call 1800 032 332. First National Real Estate. We put you first.
Hey mate, I need a couple of 2x4s and 4x6s moved down over here.
Mate, why are you yelling?
Sorry mate, I'm just used to it.
There's no need to yell. In fact, there's no need to do much at all thanks to the all-new electric excavator by Volvo. With no noise and no emissions, there's really no worries. Inquire today through Warren Mining and
enjoy the sound of silence!
Exceed expectations in the Volvo XC40 Special Edition. Includes 360-degree camera, 19-inch alloy wheels, leather interior and premium paint. All for only $59,990 drive away. Book your test drive today. Volvo.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Kids impacted by cancer shouldn't have to miss out on kid things. For more on how Lionhearts Learning can help, visit lionheartslearning.com. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
Up to the minute news for South Australia. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
18 and sunny today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning. I'm Graham Goodings.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion, including underwater treadmill, latest rehab facilities and highly trained physios. PhysioExtra.com.
Israeli troops are preparing to launch a fresh ground operation in Lebanon. The IDF chief has addressed the army on the northern border, saying the latest airstrikes were to degrade Hezbollah and gain entry into the country. More than 600 people are dead after intense bombardment in the region. A helping hand for workers out of a job as a tomato virus shuts down 3 local producers. Hundreds, many from overseas, are in limbo after Perfection Fresh at 2 Wells was ordered into quarantine. A worker assistance hub will operate out of the Virginia Horticultural Centre from 9 this morning. Premier Peter Malinauskas says Centrelink will be there.
We've also engaged Red Cross and Lutheran Care to provide other types of support and entitlements depending on the nature of their visa, where they come from, are they an Australian citizen, and what have you. So this is a complex set of circumstances. We don't have a great degree of detail in terms of exact numbers.
4 people have safely evacuated a burning house at Morford Vale overnight thanks to operating fire alarms. The MFS Prima Osborne says the fireys were called out to Lindsay Drive just before 11:30 last night and took 25 minutes to bring the fire under control.
4 occupants had self-evacuated as a result of working smoke alarms. Fire investigators have attended the scene and confirmed that the cause is accidental, with structural damage at approximately $150,000.
Enrolment in fee-free TAFE is hitting new highs, with more than 150,000 people signing up in the first half of this year. Courses in the care economy have been the most popular. The figures put the government on track to beat its target of 300,000 free TAFE places by the end of next year. Skills Minister Andrew Giles says it's promising news.
I think everyone knows how much work we've got to do to deliver dignity to older Australians as we look to respond to the Royal Commission findings. And we know that early education and childcare is a huge issue. It's again a pressure on families, and it's so important that we give our children the best start in life.
Uniting SA has announced a $25 million plan to provide housing for homeless women. The new development, if approved, will be at Bowden in the Inner West. The $25 million project would include 22 social and 12 affordable apartments and 2 specialist disability housing apartments. The social housing is aimed at helping women over the age of 55 and experiencing or at risk of homelessness. Qantas says it's putting contingencies in place to minimise disruption to customers, as nearly half of its engineers prepared to take strike action for a better pay deal. About 1,100 engineers are taking part in a fortnight of industrial action starting today in Melbourne. Australian Manufacturing Workers Union National Secretary Steve Murphy says the action will be ramped up from next week.
We've got more actions planned. There will be rolling stoppages that will happen across all of the major cities. It's likely to affect services, and we apologise for the public on that. If they do want to send a message to Qantas, it should be, you need to respect your workers and show us that you respect your workers if you want to rebuild your reputation.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Visit gliderol.com.au and see how you could win during their Colorbond Steal the Show promotion.
Tom Wren, plenty of footy news about.
And there's lots of changes, isn't there, Graham? And that's because Charlie Dixon, he's the latest casualty there. He's decided to hang up the boots and will retire. The 34-year-old had a great career. He played 221 games at Gold Coast and Port. Still on football, Brisbane coach Chris Fagan has taken a shot at the AFL over its decision not to let his side train on the MCG today. The grand final venue is unavailable due to a rehearsal for Katy Perry's pre-game performance. Fagan telling Talking Footy it's not ideal.
Yeah, no, it's good to see that the AFL's got their priorities right. They'll let the team on that's going to play the game, get the artist on, but we understand that. Fortunately, we've played 2 games on the MCG in the last 5 weeks, so we've had reasonable preparation in that regard.
Audio there thanks to Seven. Well, Collingwood is no longer interested in recruiting out-of-contract Essendon forward Jake Stringer. Magpies coach Craig McRae admits he considered Stringer's availability, but they won't make an offer. To netball, the Diamonds have won their series against England 2-1 thanks to a 69-56 goal win in Bendigo. Defenders Joanna Watson and Courtney Bruce will return from injury for next month's clash in the Constellation Cup with the Silver Ferns. To soccer, Manchester United has given up a late goal to be held to a 1-1 draw in the Europa League against FC 20.
Can he finish this time? Yes, he can. And Manchester United, guilty of giving the ball away, have been caught on the counter and it's 1-1.
Audio there thanks to Stan Sport. Meantime, in League Cup action, there were wins for Arsenal and Liverpool this morning. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Do you need pragmatic and relevant commercial legal advice? Contact JFL and Smith Lawyers, nationally recognised local specialists.
You're looking at a hassle-free run for that drive into work. Although we have plenty of works, including Seacombe Gardens on Sturt Road near Morford Road, speeds at 40 both ways. Bedford Park on Flinders Drive near the Southern Expressway. Clarence Park on Cross Road, outbound Somerton Park on Oaklands Road. Citybound Glenside, Green Hill Road near Portrush Road, and a speed trap Green Hill Road, Burnside. Beaumont Tiles' new best price guarantee, or we'll beat it by 5% for tilers, is huge. Drop in and grab a free hat and t-shirt when you join their trade club too. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Another 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Sunny and 18 today. Tomorrow also sunny, 22. Saturday a late shower to 26. Then Sunday showers easing back down to 18. Currently it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Then I saw her face.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range. Petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
I'm a believer, I couldn't leave her.
7 after 7, sun is up. Beautiful morning. Couple of beautiful days on the way in Adelaide. Going to be even better for someone this morning, because I think the AFL Grand Final tickets are going to go off today on the strength of today's clue. It's coming up before 9 o'clock. Stay listening. If you've got them all, today I'll put it over the edge. The only reason it doesn't go off today, I suspect, is because someone has missed one or two clues, and that hasn't ruled out their particular guess for which oval is home to your AFL Grand Final tickets, flights and accommodation.
If you know anything about the proud history of football in this state, you'll get it today.
Yeah, I think so.
But there's always variables. I mean, one of them is, we've seen it so many times, it's nerves. You know, suddenly you're on radio and you think, oh, you know, you can freeze.
Yeah, just say an oval.
Seize up.
But an MCG. Don't do that, please. It's not the MCG.
It is not the MCG.
Matt Abraham coming up this hour. Also, we're going to flash back in time with Michael Spith. Next hour, we're going to chat with a tomato grower, because this is the biggest story in South Australia right now. Quarantines have been slapped on 3 South Australian tomato farms to stop the spread of a highly contagious virus that targets the fruit. So yesterday, the story that came out, the state government cordoned off all 3 sites. Major grower Perfection Fresh has said publicly that there's a danger. It's 500, mostly overseas workers, are going to get sacked. They're going to lose $27 million worth of stock. Gawler River Tomatoes and South Australia Tomatoes are the other companies and farms that have been cordoned off at the moment. There's no human risk from the virus, and we've said that from the outset, but so people know. What it does is it causes deformities, brown wrinkled spots. The tomato doesn't ripen evenly. It can reduce the marketable yield by 75%. This is why it's devastating to the industry. Beyond that, other states in Australia are closing off South Australia for exports from it. So it's potentially devastating for the entire industry. It's already devastated these 3 farms. Several weeks, PIRSA are saying, it'll be before things can get back up and running again. 18 other sites have been tested in South Australia. Thankfully, no other positive readings at this point in time.
It's a hell of a judgment call by PIRSA, because you can understand that the argument being put by the producers here, Perfection Fresh. I mean, they've got 500 workers, $27 million worth of stock. I don't know how you absorb that. And you can understand them pleading, saying, look, there's no evidence whatsoever that the tomatoes pose any threat to anybody. Like, there's no health concern. They just look dodgy. But they taste the same. You can cook with them. But you can understand, given that the whole industry is predicated on, you expect a tomato to look like a tomato, and human behaviour being what it is, no one's going to buy a tomato that's clearly got a virus that changes the look of it. But for FIVEAA to just say, well, bad luck, he's got to rip him out, it's tough.
Here is Nick Seacombe from FIVEAA.
And then we can get on the front foot and eradicate and disinfect the facilities in which it's known to occur.
He's the Director of Biosecurity at FIVEAA. The Premier was quick to underscore the seriousness of the issue as well.
The virus can result in the yield of a tomato plant reducing by up to 75%.
So it harms the long-term profitability of the industry as well, even beyond
the look of the tomato,
how it all looks. That's concerning. We're interested in hearing from anyone at the airport this morning, or throughout the morning, about whether there are likely any delays as a result of industrial action that's taking place today. Get used to hearing about this story because it starts in Melbourne today, but it's going to spread to other capital cities around the country as well. The Qantas Engineers Alliance claims hundreds of engineers disgruntled over ongoing wage negotiations will strike at basically every major Australian airport over the next 2 weeks. So Melbourne's the first stop. They say, that is the union, that it's highly likely to affect flights. We haven't had any reports as of yet, but we're happy to be corrected on that front from listeners that are at the airport. Qantas has said, look, we don't think there are going to be issues. They've reassured people who are flying to Melbourne, of course, to get to the grand final in 2 days' time. They say there are contingencies in place to make sure that the action doesn't have any impact on customers. The source of the dispute is engineers wanting a 5% per year pay rise plus a 15% bump on their first year payment to make up what they say was 3.5 years of wage freezes. So you consider those 3.5 years, inflation 5 or 6% over that period. That would be the rough back of the napkin numbers that they've worked on to say, hey, we did our bit. And we absorbed the costs when the airline industry was struggling, and now it's back. We were our bit of it.
And the PR problem that Qantas management has got is what sort of bonuses were they paying themselves during that same period? I mean, they changed CEOs in part because of the profligacy that was being showered on Alan Joyce and others at the top of the airline at a time when public support for what was probably once the most trusted and iconic brand in Australia had ended up in the toilet. So, nice stand with the engineers, I think.
Negative gearing and capital gains tax concessions seem to be back on the agenda, albeit the government's trying to rule it out. Tough to rule it out emphatically when you ruled out emphatically changing the stage 3 tax cuts, but we're here in the same playbook. The Prime Minister was asked repeatedly about whether there would be changes to negative gearing, saying things like, it's not our policy and we have no plans to do so. Again, we heard those turns of phrase when it came to the stage 3 tax cuts. The reason this has become a story is because people have got hold of some Treasury modelling that's provided to the government to say, well, what would it look like if we played around with negative gearing? What would the impact be on housing, on tax? What would it be on a whole host of things? The Prime Minister said, well, look, the public service does this. They can always come up with a range of options.
From time to time, I'm sure the public service are looking at policy ideas.
So Jim Chalmers, he wanted to talk about the good inflation numbers that came out yesterday. Instead, he ended up getting asked about this.
We've got a housing policy and that's not in it.
So the denials are emphatic. The coalition are up and about, wanting to seize on the success of the 2019 campaign when this was a feature, and raise the spectre of that. Here's Jane Hume, who I actually thought, if you're going to come out and criticise the government for entertaining the idea of negative gearing changes, you want to be pretty sure that you're not going to do it. And she sounded less convincing than she should have.
We have no policy to change capital gains. We have no policy to change negative gearing.
So,
well, they're looking at some sort of property changes themselves, the Libs.
Well, you can't
hear what they are.
That's if you're going to attack them, go for it. You can't just then trundle out the same line that the government's rolling out that you're saying is, some sort of subterfuge. That's just weak.
With Albo, though, like some of his answers about it, saying, well, ask Jim, when he was first asked about why was Treasury doing modelling on how changes to negative gearing could work, it's almost like he's got some arm's length relationship with his treasurer. He's like, oh, it's not me, it's him. It was a really inadequate answer, but I just sort of detected, and Albo, we've had a great relationship with him here over the years at 5AA. He's a regular every week with Chris Pine for many years. But I get the feeling that the only thing that is keeping him in the job is the fact that all the factional people who historically knock off underperformers would be of the view that since the Rudd-Gillard fiasco in 2010 and then Abbott, Turnbull, Morrison, the revolving door, Rudd-Gillard, Rudd, the only thing that is keeping Albo in the job with that factional support is that they know that too many leaders have been knocked off in the past 14 years for anyone in politics to get away with doing it again. Because if it was based on performance, they're looking at a 31% primary vote at the moment. The guy's got no answers on cost of living issues. People with their power bills are just bobbing around like corks in the ocean with a useless Bowen blathering on about our exciting renewables future while we're paying $718 a month for power. Now, in that context, and here, toying 20% of Australians have got negative gearing, and they also vote. We're at a time when we're desperate for housing stock. What's it going to do to encourage people to invest in housing? It's going to drive them away. So you toy with this a demonstrably suicidal policy that's already cost Labor one election on the cusp of another one. The guy's just lost his way. And I just, for the life of me, I reckon there's a massive chance that he's going to be a oncer.
That would be mathematically extraordinary because it would require a huge turnaround in some non-traditional Liberal places, you'd imagine. What I would say is it's impossible to talk about this without considering the broader context. So the federal government, the Labor government, has their help to buy and build to rent policies that are currently stuck. They can't get through because the coalition is smashing them and the Greens. Incidentally, the Greens have come out and said, "Hey, it's good you're talking about negative gearing because this is what we've been calling for."
Yeah. A great look, isn't it?
Which I actually think is the defence of Treasury having a look at this. In the context of your big flagship housing policy not being able to get through, the Greens are saying, we'll let it go through on the basis that there's some negative gearing changes. I don't think it's outrageous that Treasury then says, or someone in the government says, can we just knock this up to see, is there any way this makes sense? Is there a version of this that we could do? Is there a watered down one that'll appease the Greens, let them walk away with a win and allow us to get our housing policy through?
But if that's the strategy, if that's the reason for doing it, then the political strategy has to be that the Prime Minister and Treasurer hold a joint press conference and use it as a preemptive strike against the Greens housing policy and say, okay, we're here today because we've actually asked Treasury to have a look at the impact. And we know that superficially there's a temptation to go down the path of, we're going to crack down on negative gearing because it benefits the rich. Well, the reality is it also benefits the poor because you're not going to be able to rent a cheap house in a two-bedroom apartment in Glandore unless someone has been given a small leg up to invest in the thing in the first place. That's why the Greens are wrong. That's why you shouldn't vote for the Greens. As opposed to this sort of busted thing where, it's secret research and the Prime Minister doesn't even know who's asked for it.
Exactly right.
They're hopeless.
Whilst we've been talking, the Prime Minister's actually chatting on Sky News. Let's have a quick listen to what he's had to say.
Will you guarantee that you won't touch negative gearing and capital gains tax concessions?
Well, we have no plans to touch or change negative gearing. What we're concerned about is supply of housing, and I'm not convinced it'll make any difference that's positive when it comes to supply. That's why we actually have our $32 billion Homes for Australia plan. That's about building more public housing through the Housing Australia Future Fund, having more private rentals through our Build to Rent scheme that's currently blocked in the Senate by this no-alition of Greens, Liberals and Nats, and our Help to Buy scheme.
He needs a new formula of words.
Well, he sounds grumpy, he sounds defensive, he sounds like he's at the end of his career, frankly.
Well, we have
compare it to Malinowskis. Like, we get Malinowskis on yesterday about a genuine full-blown crisis emerging in Whyalla with GFG. And you sort of get the sense that Mally springs out of bed relishing this as a test and an opportunity and a challenge, and that there's a sincerity to him where he actually wants to try to fix a problem for the Whyalla community. And he's got plans B, C, D and E with other iron ore producers. He's talking to Blue Scope, he's talking to the feds, he's doing stuff. But, you hear Albo, and We have no plans. Well, he said that about the stage 3 tax cuts.
He needs to retire those words.
We have no plans. That in the voters' mind makes you think. So you don't plan to do it now, but you're secretly planning to do it because he said that about the stage 3 tax cuts. I mean, it's a bit like asking Dan Houston if he's going to go to Victoria or not. And that's not a joke at Dan's expense. That's at Albo's expense.
Mark in Albert Park's called in on this. Morning to you, Mark.
Good morning, gentlemen. David, you're getting a bit emotional on this negative gearing issue, I think, mate. Just a few points.
Just so you know, Mark, I'm not emotional about it with any self-interest because I've never negatively geared anything in my life, so I've got a dog in the fight in that sense.
No, either have I. In fact, just up until recent times, I didn't. I sort of applauded people that went out and a bit of a go-getters. But at the moment, we've got a whole generation of Australians that have virtually decided they can't afford to buy a home. Secondly, negative gearing was designed to increase the supply, but today investors go and buy existing homes. And there's a couple other points I was going to make which I've forgotten. But I'm really concerned about the generation of people out there today that are going desperate debt to buy a home or just giving up on the idea of buying a home.
I couldn't agree more, Mark. I totally agree with you. Absolutely.
I thought, why don't they keep negative gearing for investors that build new properties only?
Well, that was the 2019 policy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we've got to start to get a bit realistic because some figures come out just yesterday, I think, as an ABC, and they're talking about the cost this is going to cost the government and people who don't invest in houses through subsidisation of the people at negative gear.
Yeah.
In the future, it's up to hundreds and hundreds of, I think in a few years' time, it's $16 billion. I don't like to throw figures out there when I'm not exactly sure, but it's going to be a lot of money that some Australians will be paying out to subsidise people who invest in negative gearing. And since when do you invest in something to lose money? I don't get that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think there's points about it to be made, Mark, about the actual policy logic of it, but our criticisms were aimed more at the political execution of it, where the PM doesn't seem to know exactly who or why it's being investigated by Treasury at all and can't give anyone a straight answer about whether he supports it or not.
Thanks for calling in, Mark. Let's go to Craigburn Farm. Damien, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Look, Albanese's comments around negative gearing, to me, demonstrates that he's not across his brief. And the prelude during the election campaign when he, that gotcha moment, demonstrates that he's not across it then, and he's certainly not across it now. And quite frankly, I think the only difference between Albanese and Bobo the Clown is that Bobo's got makeup.
Right, thank you, Damien. 8223 is the number. You can text us to it on the Duttons text line at any time. A third-generation family-owned dealership with over 7 years' experience. Duttons, they're easy to do business with. We're going to check traffic and come back with more very shortly. Keys of physiotherapy, rehab and strength training. Build strength with precision at Keys in Order.
A crash in Flagstaff Hill on Flagstaff Road near Bonneview Road. Works continuing Chandler's Hill on Sugarloaf Road near Chandler's Hill Road. Warradale on Diagonal Road near Dunrobin Road. Prospect on Main North Road. And a couple of speed cameras too. Darley Road Paradise and Green Hill Road Burnside. Save big at Petstock. New everyday low prices on flea and worming treatments. Advocate Cat 4 or more kilos 6-packs, save 31%. That's $41 only at Petstock. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Bill at Lower Mitcham. G'day, Bill.
Here we are, paying another tax, but we're not allowed to call it a tax. And both governments do it. Most people sit back and just accept it. And really, we need programs like yours to continue to highlight these points because, we deserve better than that.
Matthew Pantelis.
But politicians, especially in government, they're covering their own backside.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Summer's on the way. Beat the rush and organise your Walco pool blanket now. Keep your pool clean, warm and reduce evaporation. Uncover the savings with a Walco pool blanket. Visit walco.com.au.
If the bank's declined your business loan, no worries. Universal Finance make business loans easy. No financials required. Unsecured business loans and business overdrafts. Universal Finance can help your business now. For lightning fast settlement, sometimes in just a matter of hours. See Universal Finance in Kent Town today, or search Universal Finance right now. This is general advice only, and you should consider the terms and conditions before determining whether this advice is suitable for your situation.
Baby, here I am, I'm a man on the scene.
Kia's most awarded SUV just got better with the refined 7-seat Kia Sorento. Now with a dual 12.3-inch panoramic display and Kia Connect technology. The Kia Sorento. Visit kia.com.au to find out more.
Kia. Movement that inspires. 5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
When you're updating your computer and you want the best value, Harvey Norman has the best deals and biggest range. On a small budget? No worries. The Asus VivoBook Go is the best price laptop under $400. It has a large 15.6-inch display, Intel dual-core Celeron CPU, 4GB of RAM and 128GB storage. It also includes Microsoft Office 365 for 1 year, all just $388. Want something with more power? They've got that too, and it's still under $900. The Acer Aspire Lite has an Intel i7 CPU, 16GB of RAM and 512GB solid-state drive. It also includes a large 15.6-inch Full HD display and Windows 11, all for only $898.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range. Petrol and diesel vehicles, T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
27 minutes after 7, a big talking point last night on the sports show, the retirement of Charlie Dixon. We've spent a bit of time chatting about it over the course of the program this morning. Chat with Sam Daddo, who works with him every week on the Charlie Dixon's Car Show, which is terrific. Here's Rowie and Timmy G reacting to the news last night.
I don't think it's a surprise. He's 33 years of age. He's banged his body up as much as he possibly can, and Father Time hits us all. But you know, we thank him for what I think you called him a warrior, putting his body on the line for all that time. And the thing about that, and you could hear it in his voice, it's about, you know, finding life after football, and that's what everybody has to do once they finish. Unfortunately, we can't play forever.
It was such a coup getting him back in 2016. I thought he was a colossus of a pick for you guys, and he turned out to be with an All-Australian mixed amongst all that in 2020. 156 games, 263 goals. Not quite 2 a game for a key forward. He brought it forward at his best, was unbelievable. But as you said, Father Time caught up. A ripping bloke, you'll be sorely missed, make no mistake. That's a big hole to fill now, and now they've got to fill it.
It's hard, isn't it? Like football, you compress so much of the most exciting part of your life into the first 2 decades you have of being of adult age as a worker, and then suddenly it's over, and you got to go, all right, now what?
Yeah, what happens next?
Yeah,
at a time when I think everyone 33 is old. I mean, it might be old in footy sense, but in life sense these days,
it's young,
it's super young,
and so many years ahead. But no, he's a great bloke, and I wonder what he will end up doing. As Sam said before, you know, he's showing like a good left field sort of media sort of interest with the car stuff, and you know, hopefully he can follow that passion, because he's got a real sort of infectious enthusiasm for it that comes across on radio.
Well, coming up next,
9 to 10, out of 10, every time.
Matt Abraham is in the building. We'll be dissecting spin with Matt very, very shortly. Michael Smith, as we flash back in time, and clue number 9 for the AFL Grand Final ticket competition. It's the gimme clue. It's the giveaway. If you hear it and you've heard the other clues, I imagine you'll get it right this morning. So make sure it's you that gets through when we call out before 9 o'clock.
You've signed a building contract. Work is underway on your dream home. Then your builder hits rock while digging your footings. What happens? Most builders will send you a nice letter and then bump up their price with a variation. Not Rossdale Homes. When you sign their absolute fixed price contract, there are no hidden costs and no nasty surprises. It's the industry's strongest contract. So talk to Adelaide's most trusted builder, Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
Ignition for Men. Adelaide's home of luxury menswear offer an impeccable range of men's attire for work, to celebrate and play. Global brands from E7, Replay, Hugo Boss and Karl Lagerfeld to Canali, Tremorosa Jeans, Emporio Armani and more, including shirts, footwear, jackets and denim. They have it all. If it's casual with style, you'll find it at Ignition for Men, 54 Paynham Road, Stepney. ignitionformen.com.au.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
18 and sunny today. With the 7:30 news, I'm Graham Goodings.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion, including underwater treadmill, latest rehab facilities and highly trained physios. PhysioExtra.com.
Israel's military chief has told troops days of airstrikes in Lebanon are preparation for a possible ground invasion. The IDF has struck more than 2,000 targets since Monday, killing hundreds of people, including at least 50 children. Lieutenant Herzi Halevi says the operation's aim is to continue degrading Hezbollah.
You hear the planes up here? We are attacking all day. This is both to prepare the ground for your potential entry and to continue hitting Hezbollah. Today, Hezbollah has expanded its circle of fire, and later in the day, it will receive a very strong response. You will prepare.
Translation thanks to the BBC. A worker assistance hub will open this morning for those impacted by the job losses at Perfection Fresh. They're one of 3 local producers shut down after the tomato virus was detected in SA. Hundreds of people, many from overseas, are out of work with the greenhouses under quarantine. Premier Peter Malinauskas says help will be on offer at the Virginia Horticultural Centre from 9 a.m.
The Worker Assistance Hub will provide a place where affected workers and employees from the industry can go to get assistance in English but also in other languages as well, access to services such as Centrelink.
Meantime, the United Workers Union is calling for immediate federal government income support and job assistance for the almost 800 South Australian tomato farm employees. The workers are at risk of being stood down as quarantine measures are introduced to curb the spread of the highly contagious tomato virus. Qantas engineers will strike for 4 hours in Melbourne today. The Manufacturing Workers Union claims engineer wages have been frozen for years. National Secretary Steve Murphy says the rolling strikes will begin in Melbourne, then other major airports across the next fortnight.
What we want to see up front is 15%. We think that that is a fair claim, given that minimum wages have moved 12% over that same little period. And then we want 5% per year, which is pretty much on par with what workers who have got a skilled trade are getting out there in the general industry.
And a tech outage is causing delays at the Jetstar check-ins at Melbourne Airport this morning. Bags are being checked in manually, which is having a flow-on effect to Jetstar departures. 4 teenage girls have been arrested after stealing a car at Manopara. It's alleged they entered a business on Newton Boulevard just before midnight before assaulting a staff member and stealing keys to a white Toyota Corolla. The worker wasn't seriously injured. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan says Polair later spotted the car on Anzac Highway at Plympton.
The car wasn't pursued, but officers followed it as it travelled through the western suburbs before it eventually stopped on Colunder Avenue at Woodville, where all 4 suspects were arrested, aged between 16 and 13, and they've been charged with illegal use of a motor vehicle, and they're going to go to court at a later date.
And a choice survey shows Aldi is the cheapest supermarket in the country, while Coles and Woolworths have near identical prices on their products. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Visit gliderol.com.au and see how you could win during their Colorbond Steal the Show promotion.
And good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Graham. Port Adelaide veteran Charlie Dixon has decided to call time on his career. There's still no word on whether Travis Boak will hang up the boots or play on for a 19th season. Dustin Martin, though, appears increasingly unlikely to come out of retirement and play for Gold Coast next year. Suns coach Damien Hardwick confirmed on Monday he was open to recruiting Martin to the club. Former Tigers captain Trent Cotchin told Talking Footy it won't happen.
Dimmer is a convincing person, and obviously they have a great relationship. But I have moved even closer to the 0%. I'm going to say not even 0.1% of a chance.
So just a flat 0.
Yep. That's how confident I am.
Audio there thanks to Seven. Australia has wrapped up its netball series against England with a comprehensive 69-56 goal win against the England Roses in Bendigo overnight. It means the Aussies win the series 2-1, and player of the match and series Kira Austin says it was a great way to respond after being beaten in Sydney on Sunday.
Want to move on quickly in a series like this. You have 3 games, 3 opportunities. They came out, they did the homework on us in game 2, so we were straight to the drawing board. You get over it as quick as you can and you move on, and then you come out and put a performance like that.
Yeah, good stuff. Audio thanks to Fox. Austin shot 24 goals from her 29 attempts. And in some soccer to finish, Europa League action, Manchester United has played out a 1-1 draw with FC Twente, while Arsenal has belted Bolton 5-1 in the League Cup. Liverpool also with a 5-1 win, smashing West Ham. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Do you need pragmatic and relevant commercial legal advice? Contact JFL and Smith Lawyers, nationally recognised local specialists.
Got a crash in Flagstaff Hill on Flagstaff Road near Bonnyview Road. Works continuing Fullerton on Fullerton Road, speeds at 40 citybound. Glenside Green Hill Road near Portrush Road. Outbound Somerton Park on Oaklands Road. And a couple of speed traps, Darley Road Paradise and Glenburn Road Hazelwood Park. The King Living Spring Sale is on now. Save up to 50% on selected Australian design award-winning furniture. Hurry, sale on now. Shop online or visit a King Living showroom today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Sunny and 18 today. Tomorrow also sunny but 22. Saturday a late shower to 26. Then Sunday showers easing back to 18. Currently it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
I'll grab a few people I know. We'll mark out some places to go. There's no invitation, just a destination, and that's the best freedom I know. Jump in the Jayco. Jump in the Jayco. Yeah, that's the best freedom I know.
So, what's for dinner?
Chanellas.
That's right, when it comes to dinner or for lunch, the chefs at Chanellas have done all the hard work for you with stunning pre-prepared meals, cooked daily using the freshest of local ingredients, and they're all ready to take home right now.
You know what you can't buy at Chanellas? Bad food.
That's right.
It is all excellent. There's family pasta dishes like penne alla panna, roast chicken rigatoni, traditional lasagna. There's full roasts, a range of tasty curries, the most amazing quiches, and so much more, all lovingly prepared by the chefs at Chanellas.
So that's dinner sorted, or lunch even. Jump onto the Chanellas website or order in-store today. Chanellas, it's a way of life.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 to 8. I hope we get a morning like this for the 5AA Golf Day on the 11th of October at Glenelg Golf Club. Don't miss out. All thanks to Phil Hoffman Travel, creating moments you'll never forget. Visit pht.com.au for hundreds of exclusive deals. You could be coming along too. Simply head to 5AA.com.au and register. And then this Friday, you could be called as one of the lucky winners that will be getting along to join us for now what's become a bit of an institution, the 5AA Golf Day. Always a lot of fun.
Third year, fourth year?
Third, I think.
Yeah.
Some breaking news from the police. Police are investigating after a shooting at Burton this morning. About 3:50am this morning, police were called to Bolivar Road after reports a man had been shot. The victim, a 34-year-old man from Burton, sustained a wound to his leg and was taken to hospital for treatment. His injuries are not considered life-threatening. Police have searched the area and not located the suspect. Later this morning at 4am, police and MFS were called to reports of a vehicle fire on Burton Road, and police are investigating if the fire is linked to the earlier shooting. The incident is not believed to be random. As always, if you've got more information, crimestopperssa.com.au or 1800 333 000.
Matthew Abraham on 5AA Breakfast.
Your local Mitre 10 friendly service expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That's mighty helpful Mitre 10. Good morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David.
Going on.
Well, there is a bit going on, but I just have been thinking about Port Adelaide, their defeat.
Being a Port man too.
Yes. And although I'm a Swans man coming up this grand Vital because of family
Yeah,
links.
of course.
Yes. And I thought, what would be nice would be at my funeral, whenever that might be, I'd like 6 players from the Port Adelaide Footy Club, and maybe the chairman and whatever, to lower my coffin into the ground. And that'll be the last time I'm let down by Port Adelaide.
That is excellent.
Sorry. That did bob up on a tie.
We can ask Koshy next week. That's funny.
Anyway, sorry about that. But did you know, and this is true also, and I've linked this to politics here because I've been thinking about this, by half-time, 9 Port players had 13 kicks between them in that match.
Oh dear. Yikes.
Okay. 9 had 13 kicks. And you wonder what were the rest, what were they doing? Like playing Yahtzee or something like that?
Yahtzee.
What, it's like when you go and watch
Getting
a kid at footy and they're swinging around on the goalpost.
Getting some cardio in.
Yeah. And I think a lot of political parties are like this. You've got your political parties where, and let's look here in South Australia, we can also look nationally, where you've got the Premier and usually the Treasurer and then daylight. You've got a lot of people in political parties and even and particularly actually in front benches who aren't getting kicks by half time. A lot of them aren't getting kicks by, when the final whistle blows. And you can say that about oppositions too. Opposition here, name anyone after Vincent Tarzia.
Well, you think
as you go down the ranks.
You covered this period well, Matt. The great golden era of stability and reform in Australia, the Hawke years, and less so reform, I guess, although you'd maybe throw IR in there, albeit spectacular and confrontational the way they did it. But Howard provided economic stability. But the thing is, you think about, particularly that Hawke-Keating era, you think about how deep that cabinet battered, talent-wise.
Exactly.
A lot of talented people. Peter Walsh, Gareth Evans. Like, there were a lot of people in there. Lionel Bowen as the AG, who were...
John Button.
Yeah, John Button as industry minister.
Yeah, they were top calibre people.
Yeah, they were.
And you'd look at the current crop and think, are they? And I think they're very, our talent in our federal parliament and also in state parliament is very thin. And you look at Peter Malinauskas, he's an exceptional leader, an exceptional politician. He's got a good brain on his head, and he's got Stephen Mulligan as a treasurer. He's a bit of a grey man. You've got the health minister, and you've got Tom Kutsentonis as transport minister. Well, I suppose that's not bad. That's 4.
Yeah, 4 people.
And
very capable.
And then the team drops away to basically people who stand behind Peter Malinauskas nodding.
The thing,
when he's doing their work.
Those 4 guys that you name, and they all sort of pretty much all started together in the shoppies with Don Farrell as their mentor. They regard politics as like a calling and take it genuinely seriously, whereas people who sort of flit in and out, sometimes the so-called career politicians are actually the best ones because they actually passionately believe in the purpose and nobility of the job.
Yeah, and also they're desperate to win.
Correct.
Because it's their only job.
And you find them on both sides, i.e. a Bob Hawke or a John Howard.
Yeah, exactly. And a Peter Dutton and probably an Albo. Although Albo often doesn't carry himself like a career politician. So, and then we have a situation as we've had this week where Ben Hood, who's in the Liberal front bench, has actually come up with a policy to roll back what were controversial abortion reforms and a reform that has been blamed by many in the conservative ranks of the Liberal Party with having cost the Marshall government the last election, made it a one-term government, and that is reforms on both abortion to full term and the right to die legislation. Now, they weren't introduced by Liberals, but they were steered through with the support of Vicky Chapman, then Attorney General, and Labor's Shadow Attorney General. And
it's changed the composition and identity of the Liberal Party at the grassroots level big time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And this is where it becomes, one person's recruitment campaign is another person's stack. Depends on where you sit, how you look at these things. But even though my own personal views don't align with the sort of evangelical worldview, Pentecostalist worldview, whatever you want to call it. But I can totally sympathise with those people going, well, the Liberal Party's sort of meant to be our home, and I feel alienated and annoyed at how progressive they became under the leadership of Marshall and Vicky Chapman, so I'm now going to get involved.
Yeah.
And they've got every right to do that.
Exactly. They're the ones who are getting involved, who are passionately involved. So Ben Hood's proposed legislation, one of the things that interests me is the either ignorance of some in the media about abortion law in South Australia. And I'll cite the report this week by the ABC TV News, where they talked about abortion under this reform by Vicky Chapman, basically, made abortion legal in South Australia. I'm slightly paraphrasing. And I think, no, and this is repeated quite a lot in the media. Abortion's been legal in South Australia since 1969. We were the first jurisdiction in Australia to make it lawful, medical termination of a pregnancy lawful. What the Chapman reforms did, and once again she steered these through but didn't introduce them, was two things. First of all, it removed abortion from the criminal law books, where if there's an offence, in other words, if you breach the current provisions under which you're able to have an abortion, it was a criminal offence, and moved them into the Health Act. Now that's a smart thing to do. You know, that was a sensible reform. But it then made abortion legal effectively to full term, 28 weeks. 22 weeks and 6 days, and beyond that you had to have 2 medical practitioners, etc. So you could effectively now legally abort a child up to full term, effectively. What Ben Hood's proposed law would do is say that, well, if you're at that stage and you want to have abortion, you can't. You must deliver the baby, and you either keep the baby or you have the baby adopted. Now, and this is could be a bit upsetting for listeners, but babies that are aborted at full term are usually terminated before the delivery, let's put it like that, medically terminated before the delivery, because if they're not, they're born as a functioning child. You know, a baby at 28 weeks is a baby, like what most would regard as a baby. So it is a fraught subject. We're seeing in the US a big debate over abortion, because there are some who say, well, the law's settled here. You know, we shouldn't have any more debate about this. Samantha Maiden, you know, who I respect as a journo, had a column on this saying, well, you know, a tweet on this saying, well, the law's settled on this, we don't need to revisit. Well, things are revisited all the time. Ben Hood's revisiting it. I'm surprised at how close the vote will be in the upper house.
Well, there may well be some Labor people who vote for it.
Well, there will be, yeah.
Because they did last time.
There'll be at least 2.
Yeah, maybe 3.
Yeah. And so it could, I mean, it may pass the upper house. I don't think so. It'll probably fail by a vote.
Make it very uncomfortable for the Labor Party if it gets to the lower house.
Well, it will, because
you're going to get senior ministers who are going to be... Chris Picton was really strong, I noted the other night, in coming out saying this is an abomination, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, he's going to have some pretty close colleagues that will disagree strongly with that position.
I would think...
Senior colleagues.
Tom Koutsantonis, who opposed the Chapman legislation, or the Chapman-sponsored legislation, I think would have problems voting against this. And a reminder that Peter Malinauskas voted against this legislation on the first reading.
And then went the other way.
He wanted some amendments, and they weren't accepted. So then he said, well, look, it's fait accompli, you know, I'll support that. So it's interesting.
Stephen Mulligan also did not support the Vicky Chapman bill. We can't extrapolate from that they would necessarily support Ben Hood's bill. And
no.
The reason these things are conscience votes for both the Liberal Party and the Labor Party, and like the Labor Party with its history of actually splitting, you know, into the Santa Maria DLP, is that there's a significant number of people who come from that Catholic tradition in the ALP who struggle with it morally. And, you know, people have to be free to form their own views about these things.
One of the things that interests me is that the Catholic Church in South Australia appears to be hiding under the kitchen table on this. Like, you would think they would be up there with Ben Hood, you know, the Archbishop having a press conference or whatever. missing in action, from what I can see, unless they're working behind the scenes. But certainly in terms of providing leadership, this is meant to be a core issue for the Catholic Church. Well, it's been a matter of crickets in terms of hearing any sort of comment from them.
There's obviously, entrenched views when it comes to the substance of a piece of legislation like this, but when it comes to the politics of it, Matt, do you buy the assertion, and this is, I'll oversimplify it, that a swing to the right for the South Australian Liberal Party is the path back to North Terrace?
Well, politics is about winning the middle.
Mm.
In Australia, politics is about winning the middle.
See, I just find,
but you do have to secure your base as well.
Of course, absolutely.
But the problem is the base for the Libs is so big, isn't it? Wide.
Well,
you've got some people who regard this as the number one issue.
And there are pretty good and very intelligent people that, sometimes, this sort of adversarial sense, the left and the right of the party, and they hate each other, and some of them do, but not everyone. There is some cordial, discussion between both sides. The bit that I struggle to pass is this whole, Marshall was the root of all evil. Well, it was also only the fourth time they've won since Playford in 18 elections.
Yeah.
It wasn't too progressive to get elected. So it feels like a baby in bathwater thing for some of the right of the party. Yes, you've got to protect the base who are alienated, but the idea that it was this progressive, wet thing that stuffed the party, they also had the party's only success in a really long time.
Well, Will, you had a bit of a front row seat for this for a while in your former job.
I did.
Do you ever get the sense that for some people in the party, be they left or right, an issue like this one comes along and they're actually more interested in its capacity to do internal damage than they are with the policy content of the debate?
Absolutely. And I don't think that's the majority of people. I think there's always a couple of agitators who get really up and about this thing. But most of the time you're talking about wets and dries or left and right, and there'll be someone who represents an inner city Liberal seat and someone who's out in the country, and they don't sit around talking about this kind of stuff all day.
No. You go back to the last sort of seriously successful election win, and that was Dean Brown, who was was a moderate. We're going back into ancient history here, but he was a very middle of the road moderate. But they were very different times too, in terms of the political debate.
Talking about the Hawke-Howard golden era of stable leadership, Howard's view on the abortion question was effectively to say, well, I have my own personal views about this, and I am in no way interested in taking the Liberal Party anywhere near this issue. Because he recognised its capacity to do exactly what it's been doing to the Libs over the last 4 days.
And I when he was opposition leader, I interviewed a very long interview, as it turned out, with Peter Malinauskas. Well, I don't know if there are that many short one-on-one interviews with Peter Malinauskas, but I asked him about abortion, his view on it, and he said, well, his personal view is, his view is it needs to be safe and accessible for people. For women, should be safe and accessible, and I think that's a good starting point before you start building in your personal views. Ben Hood, no doubt, is paying the piper. I mean, he would have been supported by Alex Antic and the what you would call the hard right, but certainly the right wing of the Liberal Party, and you don't then get a nice seat in the upper house and not do anything with it.
One thing I would say too, though, is on both the Labor side and the Liberal side, there are a hell of a lot of women who go, I'm less interested in what Ben Hood or any other bloke thinks about what I should and shouldn't be doing with my body. So that's the sort of progressive side of the argument, is these blokes should all shut up about issues that mainly matter to me.
Let's check traffic when we come back, when we rate some spin. Keys of physiotherapy, rehabilitation and strength training. Build strength with precision at Keys Nord.
Get a couple of crashes at the moment. Salisbury on the Salisbury Highway near Waterloo Corner Road, Flagstaff Hill on Flagstaff Road near Bonneview Road. Works continuing Seacombe Gardens on Sturt Road near Morford Road. Speeds at 40 both ways. Also in Bedford Park on Flinders Drive near the Southern Expressway. Smile for the camera at Decaturville Terrace, Kent Town. Experience the entire Mini range at Glenelg Mini Garage. Adelaide's only independent family-owned Mini dealership. Experience excellence at Glenelg Mini Garage. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
When you're updating your computer and you want the best value, Harvey Norman has the best deals and biggest range. On a small budget, no worries. The Asus VivoBook Go is the best price laptop under $400. It has a large 15.6-inch display, Intel dual-core Celeron CPU, 4GB of RAM and 128GB storage. It also includes Microsoft Office 365 for 1 year, all just $388. Want something with more power? They've got that too, and it's still under $900. The Acer Aspire Lite has an Intel i7 CPU, 16GB of RAM and 512GB solid-state drive. It also includes a large 15.6-inch Full HD display and Windows 11, all for only $898.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
Everybody knows Right Price are the heating and cooling experts. So imagine how much you can save when they join forces with EcoVantage, the incentive experts. Together with Right Price, EcoVantage will help you source all the government incentives you're entitled to when it comes to heating and cooling your home, including energy-efficient heat pump hot water systems. Right Price and EcoVantage, the best of both worlds when it comes to heating, cooling and government incentives.
Now, you'll know that we love our local Mitre 10, or as those in the know call it, the other hardware store. It's our one-stop shop for all our DIY jobs, be it something indoors that needs to be fixed or out in the garden, maybe even a big plastic bucket for putting garfish in, Matt. They'll have everything you need. The staff are great. They'll happily give you advice on the best products to help you get all those jobs done.
So if you're planning some home improvements or you've got some fix-it jobs to do, or you just want to spruce things up a bit around the home or in the garden, head into your local Mighty Helpful Mitre 10.
For great prices on the right products for the job, along with helpful advice, choose the other hardware store, Mighty Helpful Mitre 10.
At SEW Eurodrive, we understand things don't just go wrong between 9 and 5. Our renowned emergency breakdown service ensures constant motion of production lines and ancillary equipment 24/7. Visit sew-eurodrive.com.au.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
4 to 8, if you're watching along the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll know Matt Abraham in the studio with us, ready to rate some spin.
9 to 10, out of 10, every time.
Now, you guys have you've just been killing me the last 2 days. First of all, Sir Keith Starmer's, will bring home the sausages instead
it's
of
a
the
powerful
sausages.
statement.
I had that cited as a mighty 10.
Release the sausage. Release the sausages. Oh, it's so wrong, man.
How could he even think that? Like, where did that come from?
What a bizarre slip. How do you...
And so perfectly articulated. With conviction.
And then he's signing a document with a pen with a cap still on it. Have you seen that one? And then, of course, we've got Albo. We have no plans to introduce any changes to negative gearing, which means they certainly will on previous track record. So that had to go. But anyway, this is a history lesson from one Donald Trump on the little war going on.
Every time Zelensky comes to the United States, he walks away with $100 billion. I think he's the greatest salesman on earth. But we're stuck in that war unless I'm president. I'll get it done. I'll get it negotiated. I'll get out. We got to get out. Biden says, we will not leave until we win. What happens if they win? That's what they do, is they fight wars. As somebody told me the other day, they beat Hitler. They beat Napoleon. That's what they do. They fight. And it's not pleasant, but, we've given them close to $300 billion.
Somebody told him that the Russians beat the Nazis and Napoleon. Mr. Trump, did you know that the Russians beat the Nazis and Napoleon? Oh, I might use that in a speech, of course. Yes, the Russians did beat Napoleon. 1 million people died, 1 million soldiers, and the Russians had the help of Austria, Prussia, Sweden, and Great Britain. But apart from that, they did it all by themselves. I'm giving the Donald a very, very solid 6 out of 10.
9 to 10, out of 10, every time.
Excellent work, Matt.
Good on you, Matt. Good to have you in. Your local Mitre 10 friendly service expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That is mighty helpful, Mitre 10. If you are just joining us, we have not yet given away the AFL Grand Final tickets. We have not yet given away the clue this morning, so opportunity number 9 to win the tickets is coming up before 9 o'clock. The other thing we're going to do, and we're going to give away, is a fantastic Care Alert Smart Dialer after the break.
And we keep wanting to bring more people in. Why?
Just getting a little bit frustrated ringing some of our larger organisations.
They're on a good wicket and I'm getting no justice for my dollars.
Sound off, sound off, sound off, sound off. Haters go.
We had Mike and Darren Steele in 5AA earlier this week. They love hearing your sound off, so get calling now, 8223 0000. If there's something you'd like to get off your chest, fire up.
I got one right here in my hot little hand. Very sleek, isn't it?
I mean, magnificent piece of technology. The Care Alert Smart Dialer. Use your home care package through My Aged Care or NDIS for Care Alert for free. Otherwise, sound off right now at carealert.com.au. Get calling, 8223 0000. Prepare your sound off and fire up. You'll feel better. That's next.
The very latest news and information. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Sunny at 18 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning. I'm Graham Goodings.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion, including underwater treadmill, latest rehab facilities and highly trained physios. PhysioExtra.com.
The Prime Minister says he's not considering changes to negative gearing, insisting it's not his focus at the moment. Treasury is investigating whether tax concessions for property investors should be rolled back. One option being considered is a cap on the number of homes a landlord can negatively gear. But Anthony Albanese has told Today there are no plans to move forward with the proposal.
What our plans are out there about supply. We need more homes. That's why we have our $32 billion Homes for Australia plan. We want more people in public housing, we want more private rentals, and we want more people in home ownership. That's our plan.
Israel's military chief has told troops the latest strikes in Lebanon are preparation for a possible ground invasion. The IDF has struck more than 2,000 targets since Monday, killing hundreds of people. It wants to continue degrading Hezbollah. Foreign Minister Penny Wong is calling for a ceasefire to de-escalate tensions.
I will continue working with others here in New York, because I think the international community needs to make a very clear statement in relation to the situation in Lebanon and needs to be very clear about the risks of regional escalation, not just to the people of Lebanon, but to the people of Israel.
A man's been shot in the leg at Burton this morning. It happened on Bolivar Road just before 4 a.m. The 34-year-old man was taken to hospital for treatment. His injuries are not considered life-threatening. Police searched the area but have not located the suspect. A vehicle was torched on Burton Road a short time later, and police are investigating if the two incidents are linked. Qantas engineers are striking for 4 hours in Melbourne this morning. The Manufacturing Workers Union claims engineer wages have been frozen for years. National Secretary Steve Murphy says the rolling strikes will begin in Melbourne, then other major airports across the nation in the next fortnight.
What we want to see up front is 15%. We think that that is a fair claim, given that minimum wages have moved 12% over that same little period. And then we want 5% per year, which is pretty much on par with what workers who have got a skilled trade are getting out there in the general industry.
A worker assistance hub will open this morning for those impacted by the job losses at Perfection Fresh. They're one of 3 local producers shut down after the tomato virus was detected in SA. Hundreds of people, many from overseas, are out of work with the greenhouses under quarantine. Premier Peter Malinauskas says help will be on offer at the Virginia Horticultural Centre from 9 a.m.
The Worker Assistance Hub will provide a place where affected workers and employees from the industry can go to get assistance in English but also in other languages as well, access to services such as Centrelink.
4 people have safely evacuated a burning house at Morford Vale overnight thanks to operating fire alarms. The MFS's Prima Osborne says the fireys were called out to Lindsay Drive just before 11:30 last night and took 25 minutes to bring the fire under control.
4 occupants have self-evacuated as a result of working smoke alarms. Fire investigators have attended the scene and confirmed that the cause is accidental, with structural damage at approximately $150,000.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Visit gliderroll.com.au and see how you could win during their Colorbond Steal the Show promotion.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. The race to secure the signature of Isaac Cumming remains strong for both the Crows and Port Adelaide as the silly season starts to heat up. Meantime, power forward Charlie Dixon has decided to retire after 221 games. That was across both the Power and Gold Coast. Meantime, Sydney defender Lewis Melican admits the decision to overlook Callum Mills for the grand final is probably best for the team. The Swans won't take a risk on recalling their captain, who injured his hamstring less than 3 weeks ago. Melican says he's devastated for Mills ahead of Saturday's clash with Brisbane.
It's a really tough call, but the coaches and medical staff got together and have made that decision. So we back that in, and the best thing for the team, hopefully, we'll get out on Saturday and get a win.
And there was one game in the AFLW last night, North Melbourne making a mess of Carlton with a 69-point win in a result that sees them jump to the top of the ladder. Well, more than 500 of Australia's best swimmers are converging on Adelaide for the National Short Course Championships. Olympians Kaylee McEwen, Lani Pallister and Matt Temple are among the marquee names competing. Pallister says she's hoping to still qualify for the World Championships despite taking some time off after the Paris Games.
Coming back from an event like that when you're stimulated for 24 hours a day by roommates and friends and just people all around the village and you kind of come back to normal life, it's hard to want to get back into swimming properly.
Audio thanks to Nine's Today Show. Let's go to cricket in South Australia. We'll be hoping to make it 2 from 2 when they take on New South Wales in a one-dayer starting this morning. But there's a good chance it'll be a washout with 20 to 40 millimetres of rain forecast in Sydney today. Meantime, Australia's men will train today ahead of tomorrow night's 4th ODI clash against England. The Aussies currently leading that series 2-1. And wins for Arsenal and Liverpool in the League Cup this morning, while Manchester United was held to a 1-1 draw in its Europa League clash with FC Twente. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Do you need pragmatic and relevant commercial legal advice? Contact JFL and Smith Lawyers, nationally recognised local specialists.
A crash in Salisbury on the Salisbury Highway near Waterloo Corner Road. Also Flagstaff Hill on Flagstaff Road near Bonneview Road. Works continuing Seacombe Gardens on Sturt Road near Morford Road. Speeds at 40 both ways there. Same in Bedford Park on Flinders Drive near the Southern Expressway. A speed trap Darley Road Paradise. If you love driving, Meals on Wheels could do with you. Become a volunteer today and help them keep the wheels turning. Visit mealsonwheelsa.org.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
And now the 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Sunny at 18 today, tomorrow sunny 22, Saturday a late shower or two 26, Sunday showers easing 18 degrees. Currently it's 11 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Adelaide Appliance Gallery makes your everyday easier with some of the best brands in cooking, dishwashers, clothes dryers and washing machines. And all through September, Adelaide Appliance Gallery is making your life more affordable. Save $150 on selected Smeg Diamond Series dishwashers, premium in design and premium in features. From the kitchen to the laundry, Adelaide Appliance Gallery makes your everyday easier. Call into 155 Paynham Road, St Peters or visit adelaideappliancegallery.com.au.
If you're packing up your family to travel across the land will treat you different in a Dave Benson caravan. There's never any roadworks when you're driving Aussie made, and you'll always find a park that's nestled safely in the shade. The magpies will stop swooping, the kangaroos give way. You won't see a single mosquito at the end of each perfect day. And if the coppers pull you over, they won't wreck your plans when you tell them you bought Aussie made from Dave Benson Caravans.
Join Gliderol in celebrating the Colorbond Steal the Show promotion. By purchasing a roller door or sectional door made from Colorbond Steel from Gliderol, now or within the last 12 months, you could win $100,000. Visit gliderol.com.au today for a free measure and quote. Retail customers only, T's and C's apply. See colorbond.com/steal the show, 18 plus only. Strict purchase and eligibility criteria apply. Ends 30/11/24.
Dreaming of renovating or building? Then come and see us at the Building Ideas Centre. The Building Ideas Centre is a new massive showroom packed with all the latest designs and products to bring your dreams to life. We offer an impressive mix of renovation essentials. We're talking kitchens, bathrooms, heating and cooling, tiles and so much more. From modest budgets to grand designs, we've got you covered. Let us help you bring your dreams to life at the Building Ideas Centre.
279 Growth Street in the city.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range. Petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Go out and see what you can find. If a daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If a daddy's poor,
8:09. Beautiful morning out there today.
Lovely.
Going to get
Not a
better too
cloud
for
in the
someone.
sky.
Not a cloud in the sky. Grand final tickets could be given away in the next 41 minutes. In fact, I think they will be. If the person who gets through has heard all the clues, and here's today's clue,
No,
it's
I'm not
going
sure.
off.
I'm not sure.
You don't reckon?
I'm still saying it's going to go off tomorrow.
Okay. All right, we'll find out by 9 o'clock.
I know today's clue.
I know, yeah, but that you were in the meeting.
I know.
By accident. I think you got lost
I
on
think
the way
they just
out.
didn't realise I was there and just started talking about it.
We'll find out a little bit later this hour. Also, we're going to talk about the scourge of this tomato virus and what it's doing to employment at Virginia and the issues it's causing in South Australia. We're going to get into that in just a moment. Also, we'll flash back in time with Michael Smith. But first, it's time for Breaking at 8.
Well, Breaking at 8 is actually about the tomato crisis, and it's about one part of the tomato crisis that's been overlooked. Understandably, all of the attention has gone on Perfection Fresh, but one part of the story that no one's paid any attention to so far is the impact that this virus outbreak is also having on tomato nurseries. Now, there is a company called SA Tomato that is based in Virginia that has crunched the numbers about the impact of the destruction of all of these tomato plants and what that is going to mean for the plants that they have to destroy in their own nurseries. The eye-watering figure that they've come up with is $1.1 million. Now, SA Tomato has 6 different nurseries. There's Fresh Fruit Farm, Lotus Farm, DP Hydro, Lonsdale Farm, Gawler River, and Lancaster Farms. The number of plants, so this is basically, these people strike plants from seed and get them ready and then on-sell them to Perfection Fresh so that Perfection Fresh can grow the tomatoes in their fantastic greenhouses. But the number of plants that SA Tomato grow, how's this? If you look at the Gawler River nursery alone, has 103,264 tomato plants ready to go to Perfection Fresh. The value of those plants, $171,000. So what they've done is they've tallied up all of the plants that they've got that they were going to sell. The total value of those plants is $395,000. And then there's the prospect of losing capital items that may have to be destroyed as part of the response plan if it turns out that they've been infected as well, like air conditioning, welders, you name it, all the sort of stuff that they use for their infrastructure. We've got Penny Pratt, who is the Liberal member for Frome. So many of her constituents are caught up in this, and I know that Penny's been doing a lot of work on the ground up there. Penny, these figures from SA Tomato, it shows that this is in no way confined to Perfection Fresh, doesn't it?
Oh, Pembo, it's just a staggering figure when we calculate not just the human impact for 500 people laid off yesterday, but the supply chain. And SA Tomato have crunched the numbers, as you say. I met with Gawler River Produce a few weeks ago. So this is the Capiris family. When we look at their reliance on the actual grafted seedling, people will start to understand exactly what's going on. So SA Tomato are South Australia's only supplier of grafted tomato seedlings. And it's not just to our state, it's interstate as well. So New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland. Last year alone, they sold over 2 million plants to national growers, including in South Australia. This year, they were on track for the same, but they caught up in this the impact of this terrible virus. So my heart goes out to the entire community of Two Wells, Gawler River, Lewiston and Virginia. I'm on the ground today. I started the morning at Bellamia for a coffee and a catch-up with Paul here to see what locals are saying. And don't tell anyone, but I've ditched Parliament. I think being here is much more important, so I'm playing hooky for the morning.
We'll keep it between ourselves.
Exactly. I don't think word will get out, but the contrast couldn't be more bracing. It is a beautiful day here. There is not a cloud in the sky, but the mood is grim. People rocked up yesterday morning to Perfection Fresh, 500 people thinking they were starting their day at work. By the time they got home, they were laid off, and they've woken up this morning wondering what to do next. Now, the government has said that at 9 o'clock today, down the road at Virginia, at the Horticultural Centre, a hub, an information hub, will kick off. We'll be interested to see what details the government are providing. But the supply chain of packaging, freight, delivery, nursery saplings for the market, and of course the family businesses themselves, it's just tragic.
It certainly is. Thanks for joining us, Penny. And just to round that out, we are going to be talking, sorry, I just corrected myself in case Mum's listening. We are going to be talking shortly to Tony Sacker from De Salvatore Farms in Virginia to get a sense of just how wide the impact of the Perfection Fresh drama has spread. Thank you, Penny.
Getting a few texts on this in the Dutton's text line. A third-generation family-owned dealership with over 70 years' experience. Dutton's easy to do business with. Some calls too. Bruce in the Barossa's on the line. What did you hear, Bruce?
Oh, good morning, guys. Look, what question that should be asked, and I don't know whether you've asked this or not since this story broke, has there been a big biosecurity miss here? And how did these disease get into South Australia? Was it brought in from overseas by people bringing in plants illegally or tomatoes illegally?
Yeah, very good question, Bruce.
No one's been able to answer that, as far as I know yet.
Because there's been no history of this virus in Australia, has there?
No, this virus is just new. So that means there's been a biosecurity mishap here, and looks like possibly that someone has brought in plants or tomatoes from overseas. So, again, I think you guys should be delving into a bit deeper into this.
That's a good suggestion, Bruce. We'll take that on board and see if we can get an answer from PIRSA. I don't know if anyone else asked them that yesterday.
Yeah, I think they were asked it yesterday, and I don't think there was any concrete answer.
Yeah,
thank you, Bruce.
Really good question.
All right, it's time to sound off.
And we keep wanting to bring more people in. Why?
Just getting a little bit frustrated ringing some of our larger organisations.
They're on a good wicket, and I'm getting no justice for my dollars.
Sound off, sound off, sound off, sound off. Haters count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
David's got the Care Alert Smart Dollar in his lap as we speak. It's soon going to be in the possession of Kim from Ingle Farm, who's called in to sound off for the Smart Dollar.
I'm holding it up.
Kim, good morning. The airwaves are all yours.
Thank you very much, boys. It's a first world situation, but I hear it in the media all the time, on the news, on the radio, out in the street. My partner says it to annoy me, and that's the word often. Everyone says often. You don't have knowledge of something. You don't listen to the radio. You have often as the word, not often. It really irritates me. It's worse than coriander, and it's got to be the worst offended word I've ever come across. It's been misused in very bad ways. The human race is doomed.
That is why we have the sound off.
Superb.
Absolutely superb. You've got the Sick Care Alert Smart Dollar coming your way.
I really liked Kim's use of the term knowledge.
Knowledge.
That was good. Like carnal knowledge. Good on you, Kim.
That was terrific.
Great bit of kit, the Care Alert Smart Dollar. This one doesn't rattle. There was one that I had.
Well, as they informed us during the week, none of them actually ever rattled.
No.
They mocked one up.
It was like a theatre prop.
Yes.
Like if ever you were doing, like a Shakespearean play. Shakespeare could have done with some Care Alert Smart Dialers. The amount of people who are getting, knocked off there, falling over and what have you.
During the plague or something.
Yeah.
Who would it have contacted, do you think? Maybe the Bring Out Your Dead card. It would have sort of been a more morbid
Holy
use.
Grail. Yeah, that's right. Bring out your dead.
All right.
That's what you call gallows humour.
Yes, that's right. It's a great device. Terrific job. Good on you, Kim.
Yep.
Well deserved.
Yep. Good on you, Kim.
Time to check traffic. Thanks to Keys of Physiotherapy, Rehabilitation and Strength Training. Build strength with precision at Keys in Auckland.
Got a couple of crashes at the moment, including Salisbury on the Salisbury Highway near Waterloo Corner Road, Flagstaff Hill on Flagstaff Road near Bonneview Road. Works Works continuing. Fullerton on Fullerton Road speeds at 40 citybound. Both ways Seacombe Gardens on Sturt Road near Morford Road. Bedford Park on Flinders Drive near the Southern Expressway. And check your speed. McGill Road, McGill. Head into the market this week and say hi to all the hard-working traders bringing you the best of SA produce. Bring your friends and family and support local business at Adelaide Central Market. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
Here's some of Port Adelaide's chairman, David Kosh, on our 5AA Brekkie show this morning.
Of the top 6 teams in the finals, we were the youngest team. We never talk about it.
Had a touch of the if, buts and candy nuts about it.
The age of the list thing, we don't talk about it. He's mentioned it several times.
The 5AA Sports Show.
I don't care how old you are. I've seen 19-year-olds win grand finals.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blowing up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. We're helping life flow.
For a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Adelaide Appliance Gallery makes your everyday easier with some of the best brands in cooking, dishwashers, clothes dryers and washing machines. And all through September, Adelaide Appliance Gallery is making your life more affordable. Save $900 on selected Smeg Omni Chef ovens. Save $700 on selected full steam ovens. And save $500 on selected combi steam ovens. From the kitchen to the laundry, Adelaide Appliance Gallery makes your everyday easier. Call into 155 Paynham Road, St Peters or visit adelaideappliancegallery.com.au.
The Honda mid-size SUV stock clearance is on now. Get 8 years warranty and 8 years roadside assist, plus a $1,000 Ampol fuel card on 2023 build Honda ZR-V and CR-Vs. Visit us at Formula Honda to test drive today. Ampol fuel card offer valid until September 30. Different warranty applies for vehicles used for commercial purposes. T's and C's at honda.com.au. Hurry into Formula Honda. Find us at Glen Osmond Road, Glen Osmond or North East Road, Modbury.
Are you working with your GP to achieve weight loss? Try Optifast VLCD shakes for a high-protein, low-calorie meal alternative to provide essential nutrition during weight loss. Optifast VLCD is for the dietary management of overweight and obesity and must be used under healthcare supervision.
Give your mouth a little harmony with Henry Bloom's probiotic mouthwash. Formulated with Dentalac, a probiotic strain that harmonises the delicate pH of your mouth and promotes beneficial bacteria. Available at all major pharmacies.
Always read the label and follow directions for use.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes after 8, it's Grand Final Eve, and on the actual Grand Final Eve, 5AA turns into Grand Vinyl Eve. Leith Forrest bringing back the Grand Vinyl Eve show, where he'll play all the favourite footy and Grand Final tunes right here on 5AA from 7 to 10 p.m, so get your dancing shoes on. All thanks to the great people at Clarity Records, walking distance from us here at Highmarsh Square, your fully independent record store serving the local music community for over 14 years. Clarity Records, 60 Pulteney Street.
We love Clarity Records. We also love tomatoes, and what's happening up in Virginia is just heartbreaking at the moment. We spoke the other day to Tony Sucker from De Salvatore Farms in Virginia. We've got Tony on the line again now. Tony, thanks for joining us again, mate. I understand you've spoken to your colleagues there at Perfection Fresh. Just seeing the human impact from this with all of these jobs being lost, it's just devastating, isn't it?
Yes, that's exactly right. It's honestly devastating, and all of us growers here in Virginia are looking at this situation at the moment in complete shock.
Just in terms of the way PERS has handled this case, what's the consensus? Do people think it's been fair, or is it harsh? What's your read on it, Tony?
So I'll give you the rundown. We as growers all around here in the Northern LA Plains believe that PERSA has mismanaged the situation quite awfully. And just by looking at it on how we see when the virus came to be a couple of months ago to now, and we see that the results of the lab test has been backlogs and delays. Now we're seeing that they're closing down Perfection Fresh, or Perfection Fresh is closing down by this mismanagement. We as growers out here are wondering what's going on, what's really happening, and for us growers, and honestly, speaking from our term, Perfection Fresh is our competitor, really. So we should be cheering, and we should my competitor's gone, but no, we don't. We're frankly pissed off, because if Perfection Fresh closes down like this, and they're getting no directions on where they should be moving in the future in order to continue to trade, it can happen to any of us other growers around here. Now I say, sorry, I'm going to go a bit of a rant, but now I say, if us growers over here are watching this happen, and say, for instance, the virus comes in, this is all Australian growers. Every single tomato grower, chili grower, capsicum grower in Australia, if in any case of scenario the virus comes back in any way, why the hell would we tell the government?
That's a good point.
Why would we do it? Why would you do it? If you're on a farm, why would you do it? Because this is a representation of what will happen when you give when the government has power over your business and over your facility. They just stop you from trading, and you can't do anything about it, and they're giving you no procedures or no procedures or pathways to go forward to trade.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do.
What can you do, Tony, to protect your tomatoes? How is the virus transmitted?
So the virus is transmitted just via, mainly when you look at the science overseas, via like equipment and your workers. And overseas, they've managed it. It's all managed up there. They've never ever contained it or eradicated it. Okay, there are varieties on tomatoes now with seed breeders that make these varieties of tomatoes are resistant to the virus, and they're investing hundreds of millions of dollars into this technology to make it so that you're capable of growing. So many places around the world are still growing with the virus in their facilities at the same production rate as they did previously. So it's a completely manageable thing. Us growers all around Australia are more scared of the regulations posed by the government than we are of the actual virus.
Are you worried that it's going to affect your sales, Tony, and that people could get some muddle-headed sort of fear in their head about buying tomatoes, or how's it going to go?
I'm going to be honest. If you want to be completely honest, of course it will affect sales. If the regulations are this hard and we can't sell, look, us here in people in Virginia here and the Northern Ireland Plains, we can't actually sell to other states. Queensland has completely locked us out. New South Wales has put an order on for trace properties. WA is waiting for an accreditation system, so they've pretty much locked us out until primary industries, they say, make an accreditation system. Then, so we can't even sell. So the regulations are hitting us harder than the virus.
But why not just, I mean, it's as harrowing as it is for Perfection Fresh. If Perfection Fresh is the only place where they've found it, what's the drama with Queensland buying De Salvatore Farms tomato?
So, unfortunately, how the primary industries are structured in Australia is they work independently on states. The states can make their own decision on what they deem is good for their state. Okay? There is no federal power to tell the states on the board, this is what you guys do and this is how it's done. So if one state makes a decision, that's it. There's nothing you can do about it.
It almost sounds like COVID, mate. It's almost like you've probably got Victoria going, we're not letting any of them in.
Exactly. I tell you, if this is an analogy. If you apparently just got COVID, okay, I will bring you back. You got a family at home. I'm going to take you out of work. I'm going to lock you in your own house. I'm going to quarantine you, and then your family's asking you, well, what the hell, Dad? What's going on, right? And then you're going to ask me, well, what's happening? Maybe well, what do I do? Do I clear out of COVID? Can I get back to work? And I say, no, stay at home, and I'll keep you there until you're further informed on when you can get back to work or not. And I'm not. We're sorting that all out, and it's like, man, this is crazy. This is honestly crazy, and it's gonna detrimentally ruin the industry in some way. If these rules and regulations are this tough, and look, I understand in terms of PIRS's perspective, in terms of government's perspective, how they should control and regulate it. However, this virus was really, really bad. We've seen it around the world. Why wasn't there an SA laboratory set up in precaution for this, right? They've got laboratories in WA. They've got laboratories in Victoria. Why wasn't there one set up here as a proactive measure? You know?
Yeah.
And those are valid questions to ask.
Well, mate,
because
you've asked a lot of really good questions, and we're gonna follow up on this and put it to PIRSA or to the Minister, Claire Scriven, who is actually on the line now. We do have the Primary Industries Minister, Claire Scriven. Has PIRSA stuffed this up, Minister?
Look, the really difficult part of this is because the disease is new to Australia, that's why there aren't protocols in place. So we have to work nationally. PIRSA has to get agreement nationally. That's why the different states have put in different restrictions, because they haven't been able to look at a protocol and say, yes, this is what we'll do. But that's why we're working so hard. The reason that we had to have PIRSA close down Perfection Fresh at this stage is because additional infections were found within the property. So that's absolutely really difficult. I did hear, though, Tony saying that, there is the opportunity to grow at the same yield level even with the disease. That's not the scientific information that's been provided to me. It says that the yield can be up to 75% less. And the new varieties, which are resistant to this disease, which is also really good, are at a different price point, so they're more expensive in terms of speed. That's the information that I had early on.
Minister, just to be clear on that first point you made. On that first point you made, so it's the operating practice of PIRSA not to develop protocols until viruses appear in Australia.
Well, there are thousands of viruses and biosecurity issues that can occur. So it's a protocol, though, that has to be adopted nationally. So that's the difficulty. That's why the other states are doing different things at this stage, and we're working as hard as we can to get the opportunity to resume trade with those other states, so that the other growers who don't have this disease on their premises will be able to continue to trade in the most effective way.
But why should South Australian farms like De Salvatore that don't have the virus at all be barred from exporting their tomatoes to Victoria or New South Wales or Queensland?
So they're not barred to Victoria, and if they've got a test showing that they don't have the virus, then they're not barred to New South Wales. We have argued with Queensland and with Western Australia that the restrictions they've put on are not consistent with the science that we have, but unfortunately those two states decided to go that way anyway. But that's why if we get the national protocol agreed to, that's then a pathway for those two states to open up again to South Australian tomato growers.
How far off is the national protocol, just to wrap things up?
So, look, we're hoping very soon. There was a national meeting on Tuesday where the draft protocol was presented, and now we need to have all of the states and territories and the feds come back and agree to that protocol.
Do we know how it got here yet?
No. So the tracing work has been happening. It's something that, obviously we're very keen to find out if there is an answer that we can find. It could have been someone, I don't know, travelling overseas and coming back. It could have been through a seed line. There's lots of different options that it could have been. And that's the nature of biosecurity issues in the world these days. There's more travel, there's more trade. And so these issues are arising more and more.
Claire Scriven, the Primary Industries Minister, thank you so much for calling in.
This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Sunny at 18 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Graham Goodings.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion, including underwater treadmill, latest rehab facilities and highly trained physios. PhysioExtra.com.
Industry experts say changes to negative gearing could worsen the housing crisis. The Prime Minister isn't ruling out rolling back the tax concessions, but insists he hasn't discussed the issue with anyone. Housing Industry Association Chief Economist Tim Reardon says the Rudd government's 2020 tax review recommended against changes to the measure.
The Henry tax review is very clear. Do not make changes to negative gearing capital gains tax until you address the supply problem. And it's very simple. If you increase the taxes on housing, we will get fewer homes.
4 girls aged between 13 and 16 have been arrested after stealing a car at Manopara overnight. Police were called to a business on Newton Boulevard after they allegedly assaulted a staff member and stole a white Toyota Corolla. The car was later spotted on Anzac Highway and followed to Woodville, where the girls were arrested. They've been charged with numerous offences, including illegal use of a motor vehicle, assault and theft. Police are investigating a shooting at a car fire at Burton this morning. A 34-year-old man from Burton was shot in the leg on Boulevard Road just before 4 a.m. His injuries are not life-threatening. Soon after, the MFS was called to a vehicle fire on Burton Road, and police are investigating if the two incidents are connected. The shooting is not believed to be random. The impact of a shutdown of tomato growers is being felt far beyond the 3 properties north of Adelaide put into quarantine. An estimated $1.1 million worth of plants in SA tomato nurseries will have to be destroyed after the outbreak of a highly contagious virus. The opposition's Penny Pratt says it's devastating for the whole supply chain.
SA Tomato are South Australia's only supplier of grafted tomato seedlings. And it's not just to our state, it's interstate as well, so New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland. But they're caught up in this, the impact of this terrible virus.
A worker assistance hub is being set up at the Virginia Horticultural Centre to help the hundreds of employees who were laid off yesterday. Aldi is the cheapest supermarket in Australia. Choice has released a second report into prices, finding Woolworths and Coles have almost identical price points. IGA the most expensive. Editorial Director Mark Serrell says shopping around is the key.
The best thing to do really to get the best bang for your buck is to probably shop at Aldi first potentially, or and then buy the rest of the stuff that you can't get at Aldi. So that's what we would suggest. Just in general, you going between the supermarkets if possible to try and take advantage of sales and discounts.
Uniting SA has announced a $25 million plan to provide housing for homeless women. The new development, if approved, will be at Bowden in the Inner West. The $25 million project would include 22 social and 12 affordable apartments and 2 specialist disability housing apartments. The social housing is aimed at helping women over the age of 55 and experiencing or at risk of homelessness. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Visit gliderol.com.au and see how you could win during their Colorbond Steal the Show promotion.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Graham. It is selection night for Sydney and Brisbane ahead of Saturday's grand final. Meantime, the changes are happening thick and fast at Port Adelaide. Charlie Dixon announcing his retirement. And Adelaide forward Darcy Fogarty has conceded it's been tough to watch this year's final series from the sidelines. The 25-year-old telling Rowie and Timmy G it's not been a great experience.
You'd obviously rather be playing, wouldn't you? Especially when... it's been a pretty good final series. There's been some good games, so they're the ones you sort of miss out, and you'd love to be a part of those close wins. But obviously we didn't earn the right this year, and we'll hopefully it fuels a bit of a fire in the belly for the boys.
Still on football, West Coast great Josh Kennedy surprised at how long it's taking the Eagles to appoint a new senior coach.
Thought they might have kind of locked someone down by now, but it's taken a bit. But I feel more for the players that are in limbo at the moment. This is the worst time of year when you're out of contract and you don't know what's going on, and a lot of those players are probably waiting for a new coach to see whether they want them on the team. So hopefully it's done soon for those players' sake, and they know where their future lies.
Andrew McWalter and Stephen King are among the leading contenders to replace Adam Simpson. Let's go to golf. President's Cup veteran Adam Scott is hopeful this will finally be the year he can lift the shield. Scott is lining up for the international team for a record 11th time, which has been held by the US since 1998. He says Canadian captain Mike Weir has placed a big emphasis on building a team environment in Montreal.
I don't know how many more opportunities I'll get, if any. So this is a big week for me, but I have a lot of belief in this team. I can't remember feeling so comfortable coming into a President's Cup.
He's playing great as well at the moment, which is fantastic. Australia's netballers have recorded a 69-56 goal win against England in their series decider overnight in Bendigo. While in Europa League action this morning, Manchester United has played out a 1-1 draw against FC Twente. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Tom. Now checking 5AA traffic.
Do you need pragmatic and relevant commercial legal advice? Contact JFL and Smith Lawyers, nationally recognised local specialists.
A crash in Unley on Green Hill Road near Unley Road. Works continuing Chandler's Hill on Sugarloaf Road near Chandler's Hill Road. Warradale on Diagonal Road near Dunrobin Road. St Mary's on Dawes Road. Prospect Main North Road. Hope Valley Reservoir Road near Grand Junction Road. And check your speed. McGill Road, McGill. Craving a snack? Grab an OTR Traveller Pile sausage roll for just $3. Rich, authentic flavours at an unbeatable price. Making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Another 5AA forecast.
Next time you hit the brakes, think about the last time you had them checked. Call 1300 Automasters now.
Sunny and 18 today, tomorrow sunny 22, Saturday a late shower to 26, Sunday showers easing 18. Currently it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
These days you can charge your phone, your watch, your laptop, your bike, even your car. Well, the day has finally come where you can charge your excavator. I know. You can charge your very own excavator, but only if it's a Volvo electric excavator. It's not noisy, it's pretty much silent, it's green, there's no emissions, and it'll leave you without a worry in the world. How good. Inquire today through Warren Mining for all your construction equipment needs. Warren Mining. Enjoy the sound of silence.
Hi, Brady Bitt here from Mawson Lakes Mazda. There's a lot to like about Mawson Lakes Mazda, and it seems you like them too. The free rego and stamp duty offer was so huge, it's back. That's 12 months of rego and stamp duty. Plus, they'll also chuck in $500 worth of accessories. They tell me the red ones are going fast. Mawson Lakes Mazda. Free rego and stamp duty and $500 worth of extras on all new Mazdas. Hurry, and soon. Mawson Lakes Mazda. Just a short drive from the city.
Rain, hail or shine, there's one passionate team working hard to maintain one of the world's most immaculate playing surfaces, Adelaide Oval. If you're in charge of an oval, sporting field or community space, this team is now available to you.
We did an interview about this the other day. You can trust the renowned Adelaide Oval grounds team. They'll bring their expertise to any green space, work to your budget. Adelaide Oval Turf Solutions will help you prepare your space for excitement, achievement and countless memories.
From turf curation and construction to maintenance and repair, Adelaide Oval Turf Solutions will give you the base for you to build on. Search Adelaide Oval Turf Solutions today.
When you need a plumber, you need them right away, as in today, not tomorrow, or when it suits them. You need them right away. Give Ken a call. Ken Hall Plumbers, your local plumbers since 1983. We're on time, every time, at a time that suits you. When you need a plumber, you need them right away. Give Ken a call. Ken Hall Plumbers, 8364 5855.
Do you think a concert pianist needs a builder's license? No? Does a chartered accountant need one? Nah. Okay, then what about a house inspector? This will surprise you. Right now, there are no regulations in the industry that say you must be a builder to become a house inspector. House Inspect Australia has a team of the most qualified house inspectors in the nation. It's the biggest purchase decision of your life. Don't risk it. Go to houseinspectaustralia.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Number one with a bullet, this song on the list of songs with genuinely appalling lyrics.
Is that right?
I
don't know.
Don't even get me started.
Okay.
How it ever got released beyond me. Anyway, we'll leave that to
You
one
just
side.
started yourself and said, don't even get me started.
That's an excellent point.
That was unique.
Terrible.
We've got the AFL Grand Final ticket clue coming up in just a moment. The fuel is notable this morning. Fuel Watch, thanks to RAA. Members save on RAA Solar, RAA Innovation Proprietary Limited SA Building Licence number 319335. It's been good for a prolonged period now. Have a listen to these prices. The ex-convenience Main North Road, Jeps Cross, $52.5. The ex-convenience Goodwood Road at Panorama, $54.9. The OTR McGill Road, Kensington, $54.9. The cheapest diesel is in the city. Silver's Auto Centre on Gilbert Street is $61.9. So thank you, America, for pumping out record amounts of oil at the moment.
Absolutely. I filled up at Ampol at Aldinga the other day, $1.55. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good feeling.
Yeah, we raced 4 corners of the globe for the Holy Grail.
Speaking of southern suburb service stations, I challenge you to find a better bacon and egg muffin anywhere than Liberty Seaford.
Okay.
I've been eating them all week, coming in, because we're staying at Aldinga at the moment. And, dead set. They put a hash brown in it too. And you can either get it with sauce or barbecue sauce.
Well, there you go. That's good information. I've got some good information for you as well in this envelope. It is clue number 9 for our AFL Grand Final ticket competition. Flights, tickets, accommodation, it's all included. You just need to tell us which oval your tickets are concealed at. I tell you, there are probably people heading over right now to the Grand Final or were planning on it. The engineering industrial action that's going on today, the engineers said it would disrupt flights. Qantas said it wouldn't. Well, we do have one cancellation today. Qantas flight 683 due to arrive in Adelaide at 1:20 has been cancelled, which means QF 686 from Adelaide to Melbourne at 2 p.m. has been cancelled. So that's a disruption that we've got so far. No word whether that's related to the engineering IR dispute going on or something else, but that is one cancellation. We have been keeping a close eye on it. All right, let's put people out of their misery. 8223 is the number. Clue number 9. I suspect today, if you've got the 8 previous clues with you right now, written down or in your mind, this one will do it. This will give it away. Clue number 9 is a name. That name is Buff Tyrrell.
Now, I said this the other day.
You did?
In the context of McGarry medal counts.
You
Talking
did.
about Maxi Bashir doing the B Tyrrell. That was one of the names, along with U Colasanti.
Buff Tyrrell is the clue. Clue number 9. Which ground are your tickets hidden at? AFL authorised GF promotion, GFAFL 24/156. 8223 Some people say, I'm sending the text line, is it 0000 or 0055? I'll give you a little clue. Doesn't matter. They both go to the same computer screen. They both go to Sam and Lucy. So whatever you're calling in on,
I'm going to shut
it's
up
all the
now,
same.
Because
do you think you? Well,
yeah,
I mean, I
totally.
think you would know.
Totally.
I think you.
Well, I named him the other day.
You did. You did. The first caller through is John in Melbourne. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning, guys.
John, have you ever been to a grand final before?
I'm a Crows tragic, so I was lucky enough to go to 97 and 98, but I was also lucky enough not to go to 2017.
Oh, well played. You did that to perfection.
Hey, next time we're in a grand final, John, I'm coming with you. Or not going with you.
Well, I nicked off to Malaysia for the F1, so I had it pre-planned and everything, and obviously the Crows got in, and I'm waltzing through the airport on the Friday morning, seeing all the Crows people go to Melbourne, and I was a little bit despondent, but hey, I was okay on Saturday when I was watching the F1.
That's right, exactly. You would have been feeling pretty smug at three-quarter time. So, John, have you been following the comp closely for the last 2 weeks?
I have. It's been interesting. I followed it last year as well, and if you remember, you had Gavin Wangadine, and in that second week, I was trying to ring through, and obviously not getting through, and you had some person that rocked up at the airport and heard no clues and said some random name. So anyway, I've been following it religiously every day, so I reckon I'm pretty close.
Okay, well, just step us through, John, your thinking based on the clues.
Okay, so Metro Adelaide was one of your early ones. You then said North, so it narrowed it down a bit. You said less than 10 Ks as the crow flies. One of the early ones was football, cricket, and then tennis. Scoreboard on the east, yellow. So obviously a team with yellow in it. Yesterday's 9 letters, 2 syllables. I felt for the guy that said Broadview yesterday.
Yeah,
I was thinking that one as well, and it ticked all the boxes. And then it deviated me to a different direction. Today's question with a famous SANFL football player. All roads lead to Woodville Oval.
Woodville Oval is the guess on day 9, 48 hours out from the AFL Grand Final. Certainly sounds like it ticks all the boxes. We've had others that have ticked all the boxes too, though, haven't we?
Yeah, they didn't have Buff Tyrrell, though.
John in Melbourne, you are going to the AFL Grand Final. Congratulations to you, John.
Thank you, guys. That's brilliant. Yeah, really, really good. So thank you. Great contest, and you guys put on a really great show too.
Hey, John, thank you. Did you ever see the great Buff Tyrrell play for the mighty Packers back in the day?
I did, yeah. I'm probably a few years older than you, but I do remember him playing, and back in those days, I mean, I'm a North supporter, so don't hold that against me, David, but yeah, I'm back in sort of the 70s and 80s, I saw quite a bit of footy, and my dad used to have a membership at Adelaide Oval, and so, you had South playing home games there and for a while, so yeah, I grew up following SANFL, and I do remember Buff playing, and obviously Ralphie Stewart and a few of the other guys that played for Woodville in the day.
Bloody, yeah, no, it was a great side.
Who are you taking with you, John?
my son. My son's 14, never been to a grand final. He's Crows tragic as well, but it's actually nice going to a game where you can actually watch the game, not and obviously watch it for the good players either side.
Yep.
You can be fairly judgmental on the umpiring as well. Whereas if you are I went to the Port game a few weeks ago against Hawthorn. My son wanted to go to that, so we went to that, and it was actually interesting. And some of the calls you get about the umpiring, you kind of just shake your head, going, "Well, hang on, that call, that was play on, or hang on, that was actually in the back, or whatever." So it's actually not bad being neutral and watching a great spectacle like the AFL Grand Final.
Well, John, congratulations to you and your son. Are going to have a terrific trip. We hope you enjoy it, and I'm sure you will, and you'll have a wonderful time. Big thanks to all the participants that have made guesses over the course of the week. John did a pretty good job of explaining what all the clues did, but obviously Woodville is in Metropolitan Adelaide. The scoreboard's on the northeastern pocket, so it's on the eastern side of the ground. Woodville West Torrens colours, yellow, green, blue. Yellow was a clue. The Woodville District Cricket Club play at Woodville Oval. It's 7.4 k's from Hindmarsh Square as the crow flies. It's north of 5AA. The tennis courts are there. The Woodville Orion Tennis Club is immediately north of Woodville Oval. 2 syllables and 9 letters. Woodville is 9 letters and Oval is 2 syllables. And Buff Tyrrell played 174 games for at Woodville from 1969 to 1981.
He was mainly a defender, but he kicked one of the gutsiest goals you'd ever seen against Port to win the game for Woodville, and he dislocated his shoulder, and he's standing there in the goal square with his left arm holding his right shoulder just in agony, and he gets the ball and he just sort of taps it over the line. It's one of the great moments in SANFL history.
All right, let's check traffic. We'll come back with Michael Smith and Flash Back in Time very shortly. Keys of physiotherapy, rehabilitation and strength training. Build strength with precision at Keys and Ord.
Residual delays following a crash in Unley on Green Hill Road near Unley Road. Works continuing Chandler's Hill on Sugarloaf Road near Chandler's Hill Road. Speeds at 40 both ways for works in Seacombe Gardens on Sturt Road near Morford Road. And check your speed, Peacock Road through the Parklands. Combining comfort and cutting-edge technology, make the Mercedes-Benz GLA City Edition yours for $66,900 drive away. Visit Mercedes-Benz Adelaide and Unley. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Coming up on 5AA Mornings, what's the future for tomato growers north of the city, with some 600 jobs gone yesterday as a result of the tomato virus, and a push for no more poker machines in the Playford area. They're two of the topics coming up after 9. I'm Matthew Pantelis. Look forward to your company then.
Get ready for footy finals with Ladbrokes. Jump on the trending bet with a popular same-game multi. Plus, now you can fast-track your picks with new stats and results from the last 5 games. Chances are you're about to lose.
Welcome to Life's Key Moments, brought to you by First National Real Estate.
A key to my home where my furry friends are always welcome.
The key to endless adventures in my retirement.
The key to growing our own veggies and plenty of space for the kids to play.
The key to living the dream away from the big smoke.
The kids and girls night every night.
Your key to happiness awaits. Visit firstnational.com.au or call 1800 032 332. First National Real Estate. We put you first.
With music at the touch of a button nowadays, there's something extra special about going to Clarity Records, we love Clarity, and taking it home on vinyl.
Yes, it's a way of saying that this album is particularly important to you, that you want to hold it in the flesh and take time for it to soak in.
That's right. There's nothing like the sound of a record, and it's a piece of musical history, from the Beatles to Black Sabbath, from Miles Davis to Metallica, from Kylie Minogue to Cradle of Filth. Clarity Records know their music.
Whether you're buying the first of many or you're hunting something down, drop in, browse and reminisce.
And don't forget to tune in. This is going to be great, to Grand Final Eve this Friday from 7 to 10, where our own Leith Forrest will be spinning some of the great AFL tracks. We've done this in the past, and this year during his own time slot, it's Leith's turn to be DJ. All thanks to Clarity Records, your fully independent record store serving the local music community for over 14 years. 60 Pulteney Street, Adelaide, or check out their website, clarityrecords.net.
Renovating or building and don't know where to start? Head to the Building Ideas Centre and bring your dreams to life. The newly established Building Ideas Centre is a huge showroom offering a mix of renovation and building products to ignite your imagination. Kitchens, bathrooms, heating and cooling, tiles and tapware, it's all here. Become inspired and talk with the professionals about your build. Whether you're budget conscious or going for gold, we can help you on your building journey. Find us at 279 Growth Street in the city.
As well as tax cuts for all taxpayers, household and eligible small businesses will receive energy bill relief. And soon, people with an existing student loan will pay less overall. Visit supportingaustralians.gov.au. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Head to your Hyundai dealer for run-out offers across MY24 range, petrol and diesel vehicles. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
6 to 9, Golf Day coming up Friday the 11th of October at the stunning Glenelg Golf Club. For your chance to win, head to 5AA.com.au and register now. Don't miss out, all thanks to Phil Hoffman Travel, creating moments you'll never forget. Visit pht.com.au for hundreds of exclusive deals. It's time to flash back in time.
It's time to Flashback with Michael Smith.
You can catch Flashback Sunday nights at on Channel 7 from 6 o'clock. Morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, Will and David. On Flashback this week, we're pulling the cork on a curious and quite dark chapter in South Australia's wine history. The Barossa Valley, as you probably know, is home to some of the oldest commercial vineyards in the world. They date back to the 1840s. And these days, there's significant appetite around the world for premium South Australian wine, not just from the Barossa, but from the hills, from McLaren Vale and Clare. But back in the 80s, it was a very different situation. There was this global wine lake. Simply far more wine was being produced than was being consumed. And here in South Australia, that had a major impact on growers. There was a massive oversupply of grapes. Back in 1982, for instance, in South Australia alone, there was 10,000 tonnes of oversupply of red wine grapes alone. It simply wasn't viable for a lot of growers to even pick their fruit. It was left on the vines to rot. So the South Australian government came up with what was known as the vine pool scheme. Basically, growers were paid to pull their vines out of the ground. They were paid a reasonable amount of money. It was about $5,000 an acre in those days, which was about 10 years' worth of yield. So you can see why it would have been really attractive for those buyers who were up against it financially. But as a result, a lot of old vines, particularly Shiraz and Grenache, were pulled from the ground. Have a listen to a little of this report from Russ Dickens.
Leo Kennedy of Nuriutpa is probably the hardest hit grape grower in the Barossa Valley. He has a 45-acre property on the outskirts of the town. This year it'll produce about 220 tonnes of grapes, but of that he'll only be able to sell 20 tonnes.
Well, there's nothing I can do about it. Just pick what you can. Hope that next year's going to be better.
And if things don't improve next year, you're in the position of being bankrupt almost.
Well, I'll be up against the wall.
So you can see why so many did. It's estimated about 10% of the vineyards in South Australia were pulled out as part of the vine pool scheme, around about 2 or 3 years in the mid-80s. But fortunately, there was a group of really canny winemakers led by the late Peter Lehman, the likes of Robert O'Callaghan from Rockford and Charlie Melton, who saw great value in these older vines and did what they could to protect and preserve them and really focus on making super premium wines for the Barossa, amongst other regions, and recalibrate the whole market for the industry that we enjoy today.
You do wonder, though, Michael, how like there would have been some 100-year-old Grenache vines that went, and you know, there's now a register like McLaren Vale, because it's so good for Grenache. There's now a register of all the wines in 4 different categories, like 25, 50, 75 years, and more than 100 years old. And you wonder how many excellent bottles of wine were never made as a result of that stuff being ripped up.
Good on you, Michael. Michael Smith from 7 News. You can catch a flashback from 6 o'clock on Sunday night.
I hope this person's still listening. We're talking about the evil of autocorrect. I spent an hour yesterday trying to convince my Mac that Jack Oaty was not Jack Oates, and it kept changing the spelling, driving me mad. I like this one. I'm a horticulturalist, Dave. Try writing botanical names into text messages. I'm constantly fighting it. Good stuff. And helpfully, Andrew says that if you highlight the word and then right-click and then click on Add to Dictionary, it'll stop the autocorrection.
Oh, that's a good little tip.
Yeah. Sounds a bit too much like hard work, that, doesn't it?
You're teaching the machine. If you did that, all machines from into the future would know Jack Oaty exists.
Well, man, so they should.
Exactly right. We're out of time. Matt Pantelis is coming up. Enjoy your Thursday. Looks like it's going to be a cracker out there, and we'll be back from 6 o'clock tomorrow.